I believe it, you will see it, the writing on the wall. It's for reason, not for malice, that we watch them fall. The amazing atheist. The amazing atheist. Have you seen it? The stupidity of the ones around you. Can you feel it? The need to rise up from the pit of destitute. The amazing atheist. The amazing atheist. Forging unity, the time is coming to annihilate the ignorant, peddling scum, breathing anger, exhale wisdom, suffocate the indifference. No more complacency. The amazing atheist. The amazing atheist.
The longest intro ever, says someone in the chat. I don't know who. But yeah, you're lucky I didn't go with the fucking 12-minute version, dude. You should have heard the guitar solo in that. I mean, it was epic. The motherfucker could shred. But that's Sam Tar, by the way, with the intro. You can look at his music down there in the description. Very talented guy, as you could obviously hear a moment ago. Not all of his songs are about my greatness, but that's okay. You know, I mean, sometimes you got to write songs about other stuff. I have it already. I guess it printed it 9 times. Thank you, baby, nonetheless. My wife came in here trying to give me the notes that I printed out, but I already have them, so I guess it printed multiple times because printers are fun. So as usual, Streamlabs and Super Chats are being accepted throughout, but going to be read at the end of the broadcast. I know I'm a little forceful with those because, frankly, it's hard to monetize this channel. Most of the shit that I put on here does not get monetized, so support of viewers is pretty cool. Actually, I thought about doing some cheap manipulative tactics and bringing my sick cat in here. I mean, he's not really sick in the sense of like he has cancer or something like that. He's sick in the sense that he's allergic to basically everything on the face of the earth. And I'm not even exaggerating. He went and got an allergy test because he's always having skin issues and he's always drooling and stuff. And, I decided to, go get him an allergy test. Well, me and my wife decided. And, it's a very expensive fucking test, by the way. Take him to go get the test. And we're hoping like it's going to narrow things down. We're going to find out he's allergic to pine needles, so keep him away from pine needles, something like that. Something like some component we can control, but there's no, I mean, like, it's everything. Like we get the report back and it's just like, he's allergic to this, he's allergic to this, he's allergic to this, he's allergic to this. I mean, literally everything they test him for, he had some sort of allergic reaction to. Now, everything wasn't a pronounced reaction, but everything got some reaction. And, I think a lot of it is because we found him as a kitten. Support, leave the cat, whatever. I'll read your shit at the end. But we found him, or I keep saying we. I keep taking shit that my wife did and applying a we to it, like I was part of the fucking process of the decision making. But no, my wife found him. She was working at Starbucks, and they were out back throwing out some garbage or something, and they hear this little meow, 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 little tiny. Well, I'm making actual cat sounds. My cat doesn't actually make cat noises. He makes weird raspy, like, bleh, bleh. That kind of fucking shit. And so they hear like the little of this fucking horrible creature. And, they find him, and it's like, we should take him to the vet or whatever. He's a little tiny kitten. We talk about, we need to take him to the vet or whatever, and Chelsea is like, fuck that, we'll take that motherfucker right on home. So she brought him home because I'd already talked about how I was open to like another cat, and little did we know that he was a sickly little demon straight from the depths of hell, just like totally destructive cat, just fucking. Anything that's on a counter, he's going to knock it off. Anything that he can possibly get into, he's going to get into it. And on top of that, allergic to everything, which is expensive as fuck. It means you got to take him to the vet. We have a special cat dermatologist. He's got to get some kind of crazy treatment every morning, and he can't eat for 45 minutes till after he gets the treatment. And this is a cat that scavenges food out of fucking thin air, so it's almost impossible to keep him from food. So it's just brutal. But anyway, bring him in here, Chelsea. Bring me the fucking cat. I want to use him as a prop. Bring cat. Catch cat, bring cat. I want to fucking make him do a little dance. Torture himself and stuff. It's going to be fun. If she won't bring him, I'll jump up and just leave you guys staring at a fucking blank screen. Well, I guess my screen is never blank because my whole house is just fucking piled. I'm this close to being a hoarder. I'm not quite there, but I'm pretty fucking close. Got a lot of stuff just crammed in every nook and cranny. I'm always telling myself I'm going to get rid of shit, but then I don't do that and I get more. But anyway, I think part of the reason the cat is so fucked up in the first place is because he was abandoned by his mother when he was very, very, very young. He was only about 4 weeks old when we got him, so that's like way before kittens are supposed to leave their mother. I think it's supposed to be like 2 months before they're capable of doing that. But we raised him up, mostly me, of course, because I'm a genius at raising cats. So this is my he likes to perch on my shoulder like this, so I guess I'll turn around so you can see his stupid face. Well, of course he's interested in the mic. He's interested in literally everything that exists. Right, bud? And you might also note that he looks exactly like Vosh's cat. That's because when Vosh saw how cool my cat was, he demanded a clone. So he actually has the inferior replica of Cornelius. So I almost never call him Cornelius. He mostly just gets called Corn Pop. And I think that's mostly because of Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, I'll show you his his patch from his allergy test. Yeah. Little piece of shit. All right. Take him away. Take him back. Throw him back in the cage where we keep all the sickly animals. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, I do have some actual shit to talk about. Probably the first thing we could start with would be this storm barreling towards us, or maybe not. You can see here, this is Tropical Storm Sally. Maybe she's been upgraded to a hurricane by now. And that's definitely a cat, says someone in the chat. You're right, dude. You're totally fucking right. Yeah, so there's a good chance that this storm, and these storms always seem to hit on my weekends too. Like, it's supposed to hit Monday, but Monday is literally my day off. So my day off, I get to spend hurricane hunting, and I never really took the day off anyway. I always fucking used it to write some videos or shoot something or do a stream like this or some shit like that. And I guess it is Monday by now, actually. I don't really think it's the next day just because it's past midnight. To me, it's not the next day until I've slept. So, there's some nights that I haven't slept. It's probably still like June, for me, based on that rule. But yeah, so this storm hopefully is going to hit to the east of me and just, devastate someone else's life and not mine. But, so fuck you, Mississippi. You suck. You can fucking, like, when Mississippi is destroyed by a hurricane, it's like, how do you even tell? It's Mississippi already. It's already fucking destroyed by virtue of being Mississippi. So, like, who even cares if Mississippi is demolished? No offense to any Mississippians that might be watching, but I know there are no Mississippians watching because they don't have internet in Mississippi yet. It's still 1987 in Mississippi. It's, always a few decades behind the rest of the country. Explain your existence, TJ. I don't want to. It's a long story. Basically, all right, well, I'll give you the gist of it. My mom and my dad, for some reason, decided to fuck, even though they knew that would be super awkward for me to think about later. But they fucked. And, my mom got pregnant. And 9 months later, a baby was born. And then, the alien vessel came to the earth and replaced that baby with me. And I've been here observing your species ever since. So that's pretty much the life story. It's pretty much the reason for my being, TJ has a crush on Abigail Shapiro. No, I don't. You're thinking of Paul. Paul definitely has a crush on Abigail Shapiro. I do not have a crush on Abigail Shapiro. So I guess we could go ahead and at this point, now that I've blathered on and let the room fill up a little bit, we can get to some actual content, right? Maybe? Okay. Yeah, why not? Stranger things have fucking happened, right? So let's go ahead and start with this. So this is a tweet. This is a tweet by a checkmark named Sarah Rowe or Sarah Rao. I might be pronouncing it wrong. But she has made a pronouncement that I think we all need to take very seriously. She has said, and I quote, white people need to stop writing black and brown characters. So that's the contention here. White people need to stop writing black and brown characters. Enough, white people. Enough. Your day of I hate some of the shit, some of this woke shit, some of this SJW shit, there's a reason that I spent years shitting on it. And I recognize that it's no longer the biggest problem we got. I realize that it's no longer an appropriate place to focus 100% of your energy if you have the ability to do something else, which I like to think that I do. But at the same time, it definitely occasionally deserves another fucking smack across its stupid, dense fucking face. I hate this fucking shit. I hate the idea that only a trans person can play a trans character in a movie. I hate the idea that only a disabled person can play a disabled character. I hate the idea that only a black voice actor can voice a black cartoon character. And now I hate this idea that white people should not write any character that's outside of their own race. Which, by the way, haven't white people who do that, like white writers who do that contemporarily, like been labeled racist for not meeting, like having enough diversity in their works, right? Yeah, they have. So that's kind of silly. So let's really fucking tear into this shit. Now, before I really tear into it hardcore and shit, I wanted to say this. At the end of the day, this is but one tweet from one crazy bitch on Twitter, all right? There's all kinds of crazy people on Twitter who say all kind of crazy fucking things. Of course there are. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to inflate it in importance. I'm not going to, take her words and ascribe it to an entire fucking group of people or something. I'm not going to say that this idea is one with widespread support because I see no evidence that it is. So this goes out straight to Sarah Rowe, Sarah Rao, Sarah, whatever the fuck your goddamn miserable name is. It's probably not even worth learning to pronounce correctly because you're a fucking idiot. So with that being said, let's go ahead and proceed. This character you might recognize as Black Panther. So I went to Black Panther in theaters. Because I am a Marvel fanboy, and I'm not really ashamed of it. I know that everybody now wants to shit on the Marvel movies because they're so popular, and no one wants to be part of the crowd anymore. Everyone wants to be, I fucking see past that nonsense. I am too intellectual. I am above the fray, and all that nonsense. But honestly, fuck you. The Marvel movies are good for the most part. There's not a lot of masterpieces there, but nor is there a lot of dog shit. Now, as far as Black Panther goes, from my perception, kind of a middle-of-the-road Marvel movie, it was paint by numbers, typical MCU shit, nothing too great, nothing too crazy, just, typical, Marvel action movie. Typical cape shit, I guess a lot of people call it now, especially the people who don't like it, But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. This character to black people obviously means a lot more than it means to me as some fucking pale ass motherfucker, right? And that was evidence to me when Chadwick Boseman, the guy who played him, died, and it was like the biggest event on Twitter. It was like a huge media thing. It's like he's still getting RIP'd to this day. I made a video about it because honestly, the more I thought about it, the more it was like, fuck. I guess this dude was really fucking significant. And also just a likable guy. And, you can watch the video where I talk about it there. But I've never put on any airs that I personally think too much of this movie. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's awful. I was a little bit harsher on my first watch than I was on my second. But when I came around to seeing it again, I realized that maybe I was a little over harsh on it. But I think a lot of that was because it was being put out there as like such a huge cultural event. And there's people out there that say like, oh, this is the best Marvel movie. This is like fucking Robert Downey Jr. saying like, this is the apex of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe can do. It's like, what? Like, that's, it's good. It's all right, but like, it's not that. For me, anyway. But, you know, when I went there to see it in theaters, there was black families wearing, like, traditional African garb. I want to say dashiki, but I don't fucking know a dashiki from a rafiki, so what the fuck? Don't listen to me on that. But they were wearing, like, traditional African shit, and, like, obviously, they're super proud to have this fucking movie. And this fucking character, you know, is the template on which that movie was created, right? And guess fucking what, bitch? Guess the fuck what? You see these two fucking pale, snow white ass white men? That's fucking Stan Lee and that's fucking Jack Kirby. And you know what they did? They fucking created Black Panther. The most iconic fucking black character in probably 20 years or more, or maybe honestly, even ever at this point, was created by two white dudes. Okay? So if we had been following the rules of this chick, of Sarah Rowe, or Rao, or Rao, or whatever the fuck, if we'd been obedient to what she thought we should do and her sensibilities, then these guys would have written fucking White Panther and it would have been shit. Because it's fucking, who wants that? It probably would have been called racist. So, by the way, you know, this is hardly goddamn the only fucking example of this, right? There's tons of fucking examples of white people writing great black characters. But before I even get into that, I want to just say, like, the idea, like the very notion that white people and like black people, brown people of color in general, like the idea that we're so different on like a mental level that I cannot possibly write a black person or you know, even if you don't want to take it down to the level of me, like a very talented white writer can't write a black person because we're just too different. Like, that idea is racist as fuck. It's racist as hell. Okay. So I got here an article, by the way. This is an article on diversity in Hollywood. This is about how the Oscars are setting higher inclusion standards for their Best Picture category, okay? Now, I don't want to read the whole article, but the gist of it is this. The Academy is, from now on, when they've created some new standards for what qualifies as Best Picture, and one of the things is diversity. Not only on camera, but off camera. Like, have a diverse crew, have a diverse cast. That's fucking important to the Academy because they're trying to address some of these social issues that have cropped up in our country where black people feel like they're underrepresented in media and shit. And that's the Academy's solution. Now, I don't want to get into how I feel about the Academy's solution right now. I think I talked about it in the most recent episode of Flash Fried that we did on the Deep Fat Fried channel. So if you really care about my opinion on that, you could go check it out there. But the short version of it is that I really, while I do approve of the idea of trying to get more, you know, black faces in movies and more black people working behind the scenes, and I'll delve into that a little later, I don't think it's really appropriate to say that, you know, only that, you know, that has to, the Best Picture has to reflect that, you know? Because the Best Picture, to me, as a naive fuck that I am, the Best Picture should just be whatever the fucking Best Picture is. It shouldn't be like, well, this movie's a fucking masterpiece and it's truly evocative and brilliant in every way, but too many white people, so doesn't qualify. You know, that's stupid to me. And that goes too far, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. The point is that if you're a white screenwriter in Hollywood, right, and you're trying to write a movie, and you're hoping, like I assume many screenwriters probably do, that one day your movie might be, you know, Best Picture material or something, how the fuck are you supposed to write at that point? If you were to follow, if the Sarah Rowe tweet was, if she had any power and was able to somehow enforce that as a rule in like society, which obviously she does not have, once again, so let's not blow it out of proportion. But if she had that fucking power, then how would you as a screenwriter even approach writing a fucking script if you're a white person? Like if you're, okay, so I have to have a diverse cast because, you know, it's very important that, that this movie have diversity. But at the same time, I, as a white person, am not allowed to write characters of other races. Maybe they should honestly just treat all screenplays the way they treated the screenplay for the original Alien, where none of the characters are written to be any particular race or gender. They're just written as human beings. And, and whoever, like, that, just, like, have that approach. Don't even visualize them in your mind as a particular type of person, unless there's some compelling reason they have to fucking be that way. But of course, that's not always plausible. And, no one should be trying to control what artists do, ultimately, is the thing. Like, to me, like, what an artist does is their business. And, if you want to look at some white author or some white screenwriter or whatever and say, like, oh, man, you really wrote this black character very poorly, like you don't really seem to understand the black experience at all on any level. If you want to make that criticism of an author, go right the fuck ahead. But don't tell that author, like, you are no longer allowed to write black people. And by the way, it's not all white authors write black people poorly. So in fact, some of the best characters, and I'm going to stick to the realm of movies here, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. Well, actually, I'm not ready for that yet. Let's go ahead and I'll just list some of these movies. So Red from the Shawshank Redemption, played by Morgan Freeman, one of the awesome fucking black character, originally written by Stephen King. I don't really know who wrote the screenplay for the movie, but I'm assuming it was a white dude. Maybe it wasn't. Probably a racist assumption. Apollo Creed from Rocky 1 through 4. I believe Stallone wrote the first movie. I don't know if he wrote the follow-ups, but yeah, Apollo Creed, great fucking character. Written by a white dude. Jules from Pulp Fiction, obviously written by a white dude. Quentin Tarantino. Morpheus from The Matrix, written by two white chicks that I guess were identifying as dudes at the time. But like, white people have written some good black characters, and I'm sure black people have written some good white characters, and so on and so fucking forth, okay? Like, there's no, like, the boundaries between races should not be so strong that that we can't even approach, like, I can't even empathize with you enough to write about your experience because my skin is a different color than yours. And by the way, like, the boundaries between the races, shouldn't even fucking exist in the first place if we really want to go all the way with it. But whatever. I know we're not at that point yet. But I got no problem. Look, I have no fucking problem, and I want to make this goddamn absolutely fucking crystal the fuck clear for anyone who wants to misconstrue shit, okay? I ain't got no fucking problem with with amplifying black voices in Hollywood and shit, okay? Like, even beyond just, like, wokeness points or whatever, I think that there's actually, like, strong capitalistic market force reasons. Like, the success of Black Panther, huge fucking success, giant hit. I think it was the most successful Marvel movie until, like, Endgame or Infinity Wars or whatever the fuck. So it was a huge fucking hit, and a lot of it was on the strength of, like, blackness. I'm not the biggest fan of Tyler Perry. In fact, I think his movies are insipid drivel, but, like, he's kind of the black Adam Sandler. And he just recently became a billionaire, and the reason he became a billionaire is because people flock to his goddamn movies. Now, from what I've seen, his movies are goddamn terrible, But a lot of people like him. And it's not just black people that like him, by the way. When I went and saw Medea Halloween, the theater was probably at least half fucking white. But there's obviously an element there of, you know, blackness as a sales tactic, blackness as a market force, blackness as a marketing gimmick. You know, I know it's not, you know, maybe the best, nicest way to look at things. It's kind of crass and consumeristic and stuff, but this is America, so what the fuck ever. Don't blame me for our system. I didn't make it. But obviously, like a black voice like Tyler Perry carries a lot of weight. A black voice like Jordan Peele, you know, obviously he's done stuff that's really changed the face of the horror scene in America. Now, I love Get Out. Great fucking movie. The follow-up he did, I wasn't super keen on it, but I still think, honestly, it was a pretty decent movie. Just kind of a letdown after Get Out. And his Twilight Zone series, I think is fucking stupid, but apparently it's finding a following. So whatever. Like, there's a lot of room for black creative voices to do impressive things in Hollywood and to, you know, put that sort of like different perspective and different, upbringing, culture, whatever the fuck you want to say, bring that to the forefront. But when you have a tweet like this one here, this Sarah Rowe tweet, you know, that basically says white people need to stop writing black and brown characters, that comes across like a form, and of course the comments are riddled with people making this observation. That comes across like segregation. And in fact, that's why the first topic in my title tonight is woke segregation, because that's what this comes across like. And you know what it also does is it bolsters shit like this. You guys might remember this video from a while back. This is a video called "When Wokes and Racists Actually Agree on Everything." And this video was hugely popular. It's sitting there at like 2 million views, got 172,000 likes, 3.2 thousand dislikes. So a huge ratio of people who love this fucking video, think this video is fucking excellent, makes a great point. Very small group of people that showed up and said, we ain't buying it. And, you know, I think that when I first watched this video, I was like, I don't really think this video has a good point. I think that that there's like some like language games being played here to play up similarities like beyond what they actually are. And I also just felt like it was just like a really, I don't feel like it's actually meant to insult woke people. I think it's meant to give cover to racists. So there's that problem as well. But, when you see a tweet like this bitch's tweet, it gives fucking new credence to this shit. And it makes me think, oh, God, maybe this fucking video does have a point. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this motherfucker since we're here.
When me and Brad first met, I didn't think we'd get along, but turns out we kind of agree on everything. Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. We both...
See? So, yeah, okay. I don't know that racist or woke people necessarily both think that everything should be looked at through the lens of race and your race is the most important thing. There are certainly people who are racist or woke who do think that. But here's the fucking major difference is one of them thinks that because they hate every other fucking race other than their own. And one of them thinks that because they're trying to fight against the former person that I just described. So it's like, it's like saying both sides of the Civil War were basically the same because they both were like super concerned about the Civil War and like how to win it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course they have that in common. That's like a battleground where they're both fighting. So it's like, that's kind of like tricky language where it's like, it's highlighting a similarity, but it's leaving out so much context that like, oh wait, does that really make sense?
We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classifying them, we both think minorities are a united group who think...
Okay, so I agree that the people of color versus colored people, like the fact that one of those is acceptable and one is offensive doesn't make sense to me either. But at the same time, like if there's like two labels that I as a person can like apply to myself, and one I'm like, I don't like that one. Like, my name is TJ. Someone's like, yo, JT, what's up? I'm like, hey, don't call me JT. I really prefer to be called TJ because that's my fucking name. Whatever, JT. It's like, yeah, you're being disrespectful at that point. You know, yeah, they're both the same. They have the same constituent parts, but still, you know, it's upsetting, right? Now, personally, by the way, you can call me JT. I don't give a fuck. It was just an example. But, you know, like, you're allowed to draw the line in places, you know, especially when it comes to how people are going to treat you directly.
Think the same and act the same.
And vote the same. You don't want to lose your black card. Sorry, I don't know. I just think we should.
Wait, they vote the same? I'm pretty sure that these guys would vote differently, but whatever.
Roll back discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again.
Roll back discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again. Wait, why would a woke person would not want to roll back discrimination laws? A woke person would want to strengthen anti-discrimination laws. So that one that's not even true.
Now you owe me a Coke. Hey, tell them what you told me yesterday.
White actors should only do voices for white cartoon characters.
I've been saying that for years. Stick to your own.
See, now this is the one where I'm talking about. This is the part where it's like, oh shit. Like, I kind of have to agree with this. And you can extrapolate that criticism right there to this fucking tweet that I just read, that I'm doing this whole fucking segment about. You know? And that's when it's like, fuck. Like, why are there people out there who I'm assuming their hearts are in the right place? Why are there people out there saying shit so stupid that they're giving credence to this garbage? Why are there people that are out there that are ostensibly on the right side of this that are saying shit that's so garbage that it's making me fucking concede a point to this fucking obviously deceptive video? You know what I mean?
As white people, we have so much privilege.
I agree. It is a privilege to be white. Ask him about
See, there's another one where it's just like, that's a trick of the language. The views of these two groups on the fucking concept of privilege are not the same. One of the groups is like, white privilege is bad. The other of the groups is like, white privilege is awesome. It doesn't exist, but I want it to exist because it'd be awesome if it did. That's their fucking perspective. But really, they know that it fucking, you know.
interracial dating.
All I said is that black men who date white women have internalized racism, and white men that date ethnic women are fetishizing them.
Guys against interracial dating now. Like, am I being pranked? Did Boomer put you up to this?
I don't know that there's too many woke people that are against interracial dating, but I'd be lying if I said I'd never seen any.
Ugh, you know that taco place is white-owned?
White people should be making white foods, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, no seasoning, not even salt.
All right, so this one is wrong on both counts. So I can tell you right now, racists are not racist when it comes to food for the most part. Some are. Like, I remember one time I was in this, I don't even remember what fucking state I was in, but I was in some real fucking hillbilly-ass area. I was on a fucking road trip. I stopped late at night to go to a Huddle House. Not even a fucking Waffle House, a Huddle House, okay? I'm at this fucking Huddle House, and I'm just trying to eat my fucking food. It's like 3 a.m. I'm in a redneck-ass area, like fucking rural as shit, okay? These two fucking rednecks come in, and I'm just trying my best to fucking just eat my food and get the fuck back on the road. And these two rednecks come in and they start fucking having this conversation about Chinese food, but they were talking about Chinese food like it was from Mars. Okay? They were talking about Chinese food like they had never, it was beyond their fucking comprehension that there was like a Chinese place in their area now. And they were talking about how disgusting it was and how it was all just a bunch of noodles and grease, and just saying a bunch of racist shit about how I don't even want to fucking repeat some of the shit they were saying, but it was super fucking goddamn racist. And it was really like, basically it was like very close to just being like, we ought to round up all the Chinese in the camps or something. It was like that level, all based on the fact that they were pissed about this Chinese food opening in their area. So like, that's the kind of shit. But for the most part, I know, you know, fucking, I live in Louisiana, okay? So there's a lot of fucking racists around here. And And I can tell you, like, they'll eat fucking Mexican food, they'll eat Chinese food, they'll eat every fucking cuisine there is. Because before all else, they are rednecks. And rednecks are gluttonous as a rule. And they'll eat any fucking thing. So they're not going to give a shit. Like, they go to a Mexican restaurant. That's like the only place they want to see Mexicans. Because then they're like, God damn, this is authentic. Everywhere else, they're like, God damn Mexicans. But the moment they walk into fucking Casa Bonita, it's like, ooh, Mexicans, good. This is good authentic food. And after they're full, they leave. Bye, Mexicans. They see a Mexican outside of it. It's like, get back in there. I don't even work here, dude. Get the fuck. I can't even understand you. I don't speak Spanish. It's like, dude, I'm speaking English. Shut up. No habla española. So that's kind of a silly one. And woke people. I mean, I don't know. I guess if you're like super duper woke, you might be like, can I really enjoy an enchilada? Or is that appropriation of another culture that I don't fully understand as a white colonizer? So maybe there's some people that are that fucking woke, but you know, that's like almost parody level. Like that person that's like that is as fringe as the two rednecks I described from my story earlier who were literally scared of Chinese food, okay? Like, yeah, there's some fringes, but for the most part, no, like most people, even who are racist, will still eat Mexican food, and most people who are woke will still eat Mexican food and not think like, oh no, I'm appropriating. Like, that's not, like, there's not many people that are that racist or that woke, okay? That's just my personal opinion and experience, but, you know, maybe you guys have fucking observed differently.
It's like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation forever, and my man does what?
I created an improv comedy show exclusively for ethnic people.
Guy segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks, and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
You know all white people are racist.
All right. So, I mean, it's just like you see the fucking pattern here. It's like you know, you focus over and over again on some superficial similarity and then totally gloss over like a mountain of context that, you know, you see the gimmick. So anyway, that pretty much wraps up this whole fucking thing. I just want to say, though, fuck you, Sarah Rowe. You're a moron. No one should ever take you seriously. This is the dumbest fucking tweet ever. And it's probably one of the most racist things I've ever read in my life. And you really make me feel like you've shown me that there really is a woke to racist horseshoe that can be fucking circumnavigated. And you know, congratulations on you for being the one to do that. Anyway, I do have some other shit to look at, some Trump shit, but I thought that first we could talk to the chat for a minute and see what's going on in your guys' world. I don't know why, by the way, the chat looks so much smaller and like harder to read than it normally is. My computer in general has suddenly started treating fonts very differently, and I have no fucking idea why. It was around the same time that I had to fix all kinds of stuff in File Explorer as well. So I'm assuming that some fucking shit happened in my registry, and I need to fucking figure out what. Actually, I just need to replace this fucking computer because it's coming up on 8 years now, or at least 7. Hey TJ, hey poop balls, hi mom, go to bed TJ. The daily dish of Trump shit. Oh, today we got a special one though. Today we really got a special level of Trump. TJ, what is your opinion on Cuties, the movie, lol? I've never seen it. I saw there was a big hubbub about it. I saw there was a lot of cancel Netflix stuff. I saw there was like some kind of people saying like Netflix is going to go down. Like it's going to just like, this is going to destroy Netflix. I went and looked at their stock. It doesn't really look like that's the case. And I know that like Ted Cruz and Tulsi Gabbard and like a bunch of other politicians are rallying against it. But I haven't seen it. And the reason I haven't seen it is not because, I mean, it's like trending, I think, in America right now, like today. Probably because there's so much hubbub about it that people are just like, whoa, let's see, decide for yourself. Like, it's always easy to fucking segue controversy into money if you're smart. Like, it's the Barbra Streisand effect, you know. Everyone protests some fucking thing, and then the next thing you know, everybody's got to fucking go look and make their own mind up and shit. But I'm just not interested because it looks like a stupid fucking movie. And also, French cinema kind of sucks. I know that a lot of people like French movies. Well, I don't know that a lot of people do, honestly. But I know that there's like a really pretentious, like, I enjoy fine French cinema, you know? Like, there's those people out there. But to me, like, every time I've ever tried to watch a French movie, it's been horrible, boring, stupid. Let me think if I've ever liked a French film. Because I can think of a few German films I've liked. I can think of some fucking British films I've liked. I can think of some Japanese, Korean films, even like a few like ones from countries that typically don't even make good movies, like Norway and Sweden and shit. But I can't think of a single goddamn French movie that I've ever liked. Yeah. So I don't think I'd like it, and I'm not going to watch something that I don't think I'd like. As for the controversy, I don't know because I haven't seen that fucking thing. I do know that it's kind of weird that the people who claim to object to it the most were like plastering images of it all over Twitter. It's kind of fucking strange, but whatever. Shows you the part of American History X where the guy gets curb stomped out of context. It would not go well either. That's true. French cartoon. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll read yours at the end. All super chats and Streamlabs will be read at the end of the show. So, you know, like that guy right there. That'll be read at the end. Big long block of those. Fantastic Planet. I've never seen it. It looks stupid. Is it French? Because I'd honestly been kind of considering watching it, but now that I know that it's French, I might actually avoid it. Amelie. No. Amelie sucks, in my opinion. I'm just not into it. I'm just not into French shit. I'm even like a quarter French myself. Like, I got fucking French. Like, I'm from the Castay family in fucking France. You know, actually a super rich family, at least at the time they immigrated here to the United States. But nonetheless, I don't like French. I didn't like France because I fucking visited France on my Euro trip, and I gotta say, like, it was the worst fucking country. Like, France fucking straight up sucks. The people there are rude. They pretend not to speak English even when it's fucking blatantly obvious they do. They get mad at you for not speaking French. When you try to speak French, they make fun of how badly you speak it. They're just fucking jerks. Which, you know, that'd be fine if, you know, if I could at least be a jerk in the same language as them. If they'd be a jerk to me in English and I could, you know, keep up, that'd be one thing. But, you know. Okay, so the one area of French culture where I actually do think there's some value is French cuisine is fucking pretty dope. French food is awesome. Super rich, super decadent, super, like, just totally focused on flavor, no concern for anything else. That's pretty dope. Yeah, France sucked. So are you allowed to hate the French? Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to hate whatever the fuck you want. I mean, as long as you don't take it to, like, a pathological level. Like, you know, I'm not going to, like, spit on someone if they're like, I am a Frenchman. It's like, you disgust me, Frenchie. I'm not going to take it to, like, the Freedom Fries place. But, you know, I don't like France. Not my fucking scene, man. I'm not trying to destroy it. I'm not trying to wipe France off the face of the earth or some shit. Anywho, thoughts on We Are Chaos. I'm currently writing a review of that, and we'll get to that a little bit in the Manson section as well. But let's go ahead and take this shit to our next level. Bloop. Let's go ahead and look at some clips of Trump from his big old rally, okay?
I would love to see it. If I were a congressman or a senator, I'd be in there with that one. You know, they say, oh, freedom of speech. That's not freedom of speech. You burn the flag, you should go to jail for 1 year. I really mean that. They'll say, oh, it's horrible. He's against free speech. No, we're not.
What a fucking refutation, huh? They say it's all against free speech. We're not. Well, then, no, you are. You are. Wait, wasn't there okay, yeah. I want to open this in a new tab. Yeah. I love this crowd, dude. This is a shot of the crowd at the fucking MAGA event. And I played a little game called Spot the Black Dude. Spot the black dude. Can you spot him? You ain't found him yet, have you? Admittedly, I'm kind of cheating because my box is blocking him a little bit. So he's right here. You see him? There he is. I'm pretty sure that's a black dude. I'm not 100% sure. Could be Hispanic. Could just be a really fucking tan white guy. Pretty sure that's a black guy. So my favorite thing is they're holding signs called "This is a peaceful protest." Like, yeah, liberals, this is how you say your protests are peaceful. This is our protest. Look, this is what a real peaceful protest looks like. This is not a protest. You're not protesting anything. You're at a fucking campaign rally supporting the incumbent president of the United States of America. You are literally there to say that the person in control of the country right now is good enough that they deserve to reign over it for another 4 years. That's not a protest. That's literally a defense of the status quo. That is the opposite of a fucking protest. And by the way, if and when Trump loses, we'll see how peaceful your protest is then. Because I got a sneaking suspicion it's not going to be that peaceful. But on the flag burning issue, let's go ahead and consult a little thing called facts. So this matter was decided by Texas versus Johnson in 1989. It was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court that invalidated prohibitions on desecrating the American flag, which at the time were enforced in all 48 of the 50 states. Justice William Brennan wrote for a 5-justice majority in holding that the defendant Gregory Lee Johnson's act of flag burning was protected speech under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Johnson was represented by attorneys David D. Cole and William Kunstler. So back in 1989, just a few years after I was born, the Supreme Court of the United States of America, whose job it is to interpret the Constitution, took a look at the issue of flag burning and said, is this protected by the First Amendment? And the determination they reached was yes. Yes, it is. Now, so unless Trump's, Trump can obviously stack the Supreme Court with conservatives, so maybe there will be a ruling that, supersedes Texas versus Johnson. There'll be a new ruling that says, actually, we were wrong. Flag burning is not protected. But at that point, how is that anything other than a total assault on freedom of speech? I, as a United States citizen, am allowed to criticize the country. I'm allowed to say America sucks. I'm allowed to say fuck America. I'm allowed to say that America is a fucking rotten, dirty shithole presided over by a buffoon. I'm allowed to say all those things, and I'm allowed to express that by desecrating the American flag if I so choose. I'm allowed to burn it. I'm allowed to stomp on it. I'm allowed to piss on it. I'm allowed to shit on it. I'm allowed to fucking wad it up into a ball and throw it in the goddamn garbage can and say that that's where the fuck it belongs. I have the right to do all those things. And if you think I don't, then what you're basically telling me is that there is a point of view that I'm not allowed to express. And if I'm not allowed to express that point of view, then yes, my freedom of speech has been curtailed. And if you tell me you're going to put me in jail for a year, then what you're telling me is that there is a particular piece of cloth with a particular design on it that if I do anything to harm that design, to harm that piece of fucking fabric, that, you know, that I should contribute to our already bloated prison system, that I should be put into a fucking place that already, like, we already have the highest per capita prison population of any fucking country on the face of the earth, at least, you know, of the ones that keep records. So with that being the case, you really want to fucking create just totally meaningless laws of just like, don't hurt the American flag. Like, who's the victim in that? If I fucking take an American flag and I burn it and say, fuck America, who's the fucking victim? America? No, America's unharmed by that. Like, me burning the flag does not do anything to harm fucking America at all. Doesn't harm any fucking human being. Doesn't harm me. Doesn't harm anything or anyone. It's nothing more than an expression of a particular viewpoint that, according to the United States Constitution and the First Amendment, I am allowed to have. So, yeah, it's absolutely a freedom of speech issue. The idea that you can just wave that away by like, no, it's not. Nuh-uh. Some people say it's a freedom of speech issue, but nah, it ain't. Because I said so. That's the good thing about being Trump is no matter what you say, there's a fucking bunch of sycophantic idiots that will just fucking thoughtlessly agree with it, even if it makes zero sense. So here is another clip.
So Biden wants to appease domestic terrorists, and my plan is to arrest domestic terrorists. Okay? And we also believe that if you murder a police officer, you should receive the death penalty, and that's something that's very important.
Woo! Death! Woo! Death! Death! Woo! We love death! We love death! Kill, kill, kill! Die, die, die! It's fun. I remember the sign from earlier? This is a peaceful protest. I don't know how. I mean, I don't really feel like it's a peaceful protest when you got a giant crowd of people cheering death. Death. So I'm anti-death penalty. Super anti-death penalty. I've actually explored though the idea of, you know, if anybody's going to get the death penalty, it should be probably crooked cops. Cops who abuse their power and authority to murder citizens. Like, I can maybe see a case being made that they should be killed. Now, I don't even really agree with that. But honestly, if I was going to make an exception and say that somebody should receive the death penalty, it would probably be people who had power and authority and trust vested in them by the people, by the government, and then abuse that power to murder people in the streets. That to me is like the biggest crime you could possibly commit. To use power and authority of an official designation by the state and to use that for your own fucking selfish ends or just to be sadistic, cruel, barbaric, and violent. That to me is maybe deserving of the death penalty. But even then, I don't think so. I'm not comfortable with the idea that the government can just knowingly, coldly, and calculatingly murder people. You know, and then justify it with, well, they were bad. They were bad, so it's okay to kill them. It's like, no. I pretty much am against anybody who wants to kill other people. You know, obviously I'm not a total pacifist. You know, if there's a threat to your life and you got to fucking kill another person to save yourself, then okay. You know, to kill someone in like the heat of passion, you know, that's not right, but I can at least understand it. But to kill someone after like careful due consideration, when you have the threat of them has already been neutralized, and you're just like, what to do? I know, we'll slaughter them like an animal. No, I'm not with it. Never gonna be. There's no argument you can make that's gonna convince me of that. Just fundamentally disgusting to me. And I wish that more people shared that sentiment. Now, I understand not everyone does. I understand there's some people out there that are just bloodthirsty fucking monsters that just, like, want death, that are going to cheer for it when someone mentions it. Yes! Death! We love death! Kill, kill, kill! Oh, it's so beautiful. I love when death happens, you know? That's never going to be me. I'm never going to cheer someone who stands above me at a podium and just starts talking about casually who the people he's going to kill. And by the way, that first part about we're going to fucking lock up the domestic terrorists, I mean, that's just like ominous fascist shit. That's just straight up like, you know, anybody who fucking dissents against me is a fucking terrorist, and they're going to fucking suffer. They're going to pay. And, you know, it's going to be, of course, done on the auspices of, but like, these people, they don't make, if the Republican side made a strong differentiation between the people who are doing fires and looting and shit, if they were like only those people, we're only calling those people domestic terrorists, I would still disagree with them, but at least it would be like, okay, that's at least a standard in place. But they literally think that anybody who's part of these fucking movements, anybody who's like part of Black Lives Matter, anybody who's like Antifa, anybody who's even just there to support it or to say like, you know, that cops need more accountability, like anybody who's there, regardless of whether they're doing like lootings and fires and shit, is like they view it all as domestic terrorism. So when Trump stands up there and says, we're going to lock up these domestic terrorists, make no fucking mistake, that's yet another fucking violation of the First Amendment. The people have a right peaceably to assemble and petition the government for a redress of fucking grievances. That's right there in the Constitution. And he's trying to diminish that. He's trying to fucking take it away. He's trying to fucking reframe the issue. He's trying to make it like, oh, well, no, they never meant to protect terrorists. This is the same thing that Bush did. 9/11 happened. They passed the Patriot Act. It's like, this is going to help defend us from terrorists. And then before we knew it, they were like spying on everybody with NSA warrantless wiretapping, and they were they were saying everyone's a terrorist. Oh, this drug smuggler is a fucking terrorist now. It's like, no, he's not. He's a fucking drug smuggler. A drug smuggler is not a terrorist. Oh, no, but he is. We're going to use the powers in the Patriot Act to fucking, you know, get him. It's like, if you fucking let Trump create this fucking distinction of like domestic terrorist that he's allowed to, like, that's just going to be like the first, like, just America's dead at that point. Like, it's just gone. Like, any concept you had of, like, this is America and we have rights, it's like, just, that's entirely dead. Entirely gone. I'm not even convinced that it still exists today. But at that point, there's not even an argument to be made that it still exists if you allow that to happen. Who is this loony? Are you talking about me? How am I loony? What fucking did I say that was even remotely loony, sir? Or are you talking about Trump? It's like, I've never seen this Trump before. Gosh, sounds like a nut.
And you saw a video of that animal that went up to the car. Did everybody see that? This animal goes up to the car, two unsuspecting fine people. They were fine people. I mean, they're in very grave condition, as you know. Fine people. He's an animal. And I called him an animal, and I was criticized by people for calling him an animal. They said he's a human being. He's not a human being. He's an animal.
No, he literally is a human being, which human beings are animals, but I understand the distinction you're trying to make. This is called pseudospeciation. It's what you do to people that you want to feel no remorse for. It's when you dehumanize someone so that you can feel free to just murder them wantonly. Hitler did this to the Jews prior to the Holocaust. Jews aren't humans. They're fucking, they're animals. They're demons. They're monsters. So, we can put them in camps. Homosexuals, they're monsters. They're demons. They're, in league with dark forces. They're impure. They're not really human beings like you and me. And you just take that rationale, apply it to any group you don't like, and then anything against that group is warranted. Now, Trump is not the only person who does this to anybody, any kind of criminal they don't like. Now, obviously, the guy that walked up to the cops and just shot him, I'm not defending that dude. I'm not defending that guy. What that guy did was wrong. He should be caught. He should be penalized. If he fucking, he's probably going to be killed. Honestly, the cops are not going to bring him in alive for which they should, but whatever. I'm not fucking defending that dude for a second, but I will defend his humanity. I will defend the fact that he is a human being like you or me or anybody else. Because that's just the truth. And anybody who says otherwise is trying to justify themselves.
He's not a human being. Joe Biden opposes the death penalty even for cops who, look, you have to see.
Even for cops who,
Even for these cop killers who go around, the predators, they murder children. People like the Boston bomber. He opposes the death penalty for the Boston bomber. He wants to give prisoners.
Dude, when did the Boston bomber just become like the apotheosis of evil in America? Why is that become the go-to example of someone? Like, they did the same thing to Bernie Sanders back in the day. Remember when Bernie was campaigning, he's like, I think we should let prisoners vote. And that chick in the crowd was like, even the Boston bomber? Bernie's like, yeah, all of them, yeah. I see. Bernie Sanders says the Boston bomber should be allowed to vote. It's like, well, he's still a citizen of the country, right? Like, what do you think's going to happen if you let the Boston bomber vote? Like, oh shit, in a landslide, the Free the Boston Bomber Act has passed. Whoa, what have we done? Oops. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to have the same meager little influence that the rest of us have. Okay, Boston bomber, do you prefer to be in prison for the rest of your life under a Republican or under a fucking Democrat? Which one do you like better? Like, what insidious power do you think the Boston bomber is going to fucking exert from his prison cell? If you give him the vote. And also, what threat do you think he is at this point? Like, if the Boston bomber continued to be some malevolent threat out there building new bombs, and it's like, if we have the chance to kill him, we got to kill him to save lives, okay. But here's where he actually is. He's in fucking prison. He's neutralized. He's never going to build another bomb. He's locked the fuck up. So, yeah, I'm against killing him because the problem has been solved. He's already locked up in there. He's one of the fucking people in our prisons who actually deserves to fucking be there. So, yeah, problem's already solved. There's no need to go fucking full barbaric fucking ape and smash his head in with a rock. Just so we can have like some fleeting feeling of like, ugh, Thag no like Boston bomber. Ugh, now he dead. Ha 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 ha. Thag happy. It's like, fuck you, you fucking caveman. Fucking troglodyte motherfucker. Go crawl back into the fucking sewage and go bake for another minute.
There's a vote. He wants to have the Boston bomber be able to vote. I don't think so.
Yeah, let him vote. I'm going to fucking put it on a t-shirt. I think the Boston bomber should be allowed to vote. He'd probably vote for fucking Trump. We know he hates us. If the Boston bomber came out tomorrow and said he was a Trump supporter, do you think Trump would change his tune on the Boston bomber being allowed to vote? You know, Trump, all of a sudden Trump's like, listen, he's a very fine person. He made some mistakes. Who didn't make mistakes in life, I'm terrible at the Trump voice, but, you just gotta use your imagination. He made some mistakes, but now he's good. Now he's a good guy. He wants to make America great again. Wants to make amends for his crimes. I say we let the Boston bomber vote, you guys. He's voting Trump. Ugh. Trump, man. Fucking goddamn Trump. By the way, everybody watching, Streamlabs and Super Chats are open. They will be right at the end of the stream. Fucking. I wish I was done with Trump stuff, but I'm not. I'm not. All right, so let's see. What's this? Whatever. We'll just play them all.
American patriots.
What's
Here
this?
with you in Henderson, thousands of loyal, hard-working, great American patriots.
Woo!
And 51 days from now, we're going to win Nevada, and we're going to win 4 more years in the White House. And after we win 4 more years, we'll ask for maybe another 4 or so.
Yay! That's against the Constitution. Well, at least it's against the amendments to the Constitution. I mean, like, yeah, presidents have been limited to 2 terms since FDR. You know, but Trump loves to fucking throw this shit out there. He loves, like, just kind of, like, tease, like, maybe I'll just take over the country after that and just become the dictator. And his crowds are like, yeah! Like, these people hate America. You realize that, right? Like, these people are not trying to make America great again. They're trying to literally end us. They're trying to end America and replace it with some sort of, like, weird, like, theocratic Bible state. I don't know. Fuck that. You know, Trump's always, he's always fucking playing that card. Anyway, here we go. See what this one is.
They immediately raised their hands, and the Seattle police, who, by the way, could do a great job if they were let to do their job, but they're not.
They're not. They're not. It's a very Tommy Wiseau delivery, but they're not.
And as you know, in Portland the other day, we had to send in the U.S. Marshals. A man who's a bad guy, shot somebody right in the middle of the street, who they say was a very fine young man. Shot him, killed him. Just shot him like it was on television. 2.5 days, nothing happened. I said, what's going on? We sent in the U.S. Marshals. It was taken care of in 15 minutes.
15 minutes. In and out. Problem solved. Showed up, U.S. Marshals. They did their job and it's done. Portland is at peace.
When asked if he would cut police funding, and they immediately...
I don't even know. What's the point of that clip?
From a third-rate magazine whose best friend is Obama, who, by the way...
All right, let's go back to the beginning here.
Nobody would say what they said. They made it up. It was a made-up statement, and they put it up in the form of an ad from a third-rate magazine whose best friend is Obama.
the magazine's best friend is Obama.
Who, by the way, got caught spying on my campaign.
So, I don't know. Let me ask you guys this. Did Obama, like, is there actually any evidence that Obama spied on Trump's campaign? Because I've never looked into that claim. I've heard him make it, and I've heard people say it's false, but I've never actually delved into it to see, like, if there's any evidence that that happened or not. So, I don't know if that happened or not. Just putting that out there. Like, I'm ignorant. I don't fucking know. I've never actually done the research on that one.
Got caught. We caught him cold. We have him cold. Now let's see what happens.
Lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up, they chanted about the first black U.S. president. So I hate Obama's guts, and I even made a video saying that he should be impeached, and I stand by it. Obama totally betrayed us. He was a liar and a piece of shit. But, you know, unless Obama is caught, like, murdering or raping, I don't think Obama should be locked up. Because if you locked Obama up for doing some shady shit in office, then literally every president, like, you'd just be like every president, as soon as they leave the White House, it's like, all right, now we're taking you to jail to live the rest of your life out, you know, because, like, I mean, like, Trump has violated the emoluments clause a million times. In my opinion, he's violated the U.S. Constitution numerous times. I think that he's I think he's trying to destroy America, honestly. So, yeah, he definitely should go right to fucking jail if that's the standard. But honestly, it's probably a good idea to not lock up presidents. It's probably a good idea to just kind of like, unless they did some really beyond the pale shit, which spying on Trump's campaign, even if Obama did it, doesn't really seem like it meets that criteria. So yeah, I'd say let Obama get away with it. And by the way, I apply the same standard to Trump. I mean, let him get away with the shit he did. Let all these, I don't believe in fucking, unless they like murder or rape, don't hold these fucking presidents accountable, because then if you do that, just all of them will just go to jail. Then I know that there's probably some people out there like, I don't see the problem here. Yeah, let them all go to jail. Maybe you're right. But yeah. So fucking Trump's a nut job. There's another fucking thing here. This is not from this speech, but I guess he wasn't done being a crazy lunatic. He decided he had to like tweet some lunacy too. This is like the level of fucking attack that Trump has for Biden. For the entire summer, Joe Biden was silent as left-wing mobs assaulted police officers. When Biden's far-left supporters set fire to police cars, precinct stations, and courthouses, Joe Biden called them peaceful protesters. This idea that it's Joe Biden supporters out there doing this shit is fucking so ludicrous, by the way. When asked if he would cut police funding, Biden replied, yes, absolutely. Biden calls for abolishing cash bail and closing prisons. No, I mean, like, God. Oh, I know I've said it before. I'm going to say it 1,000 times before this is through. I so fucking wish that the Trump caricature of Joe Biden was the real Joe Biden. Like, I wish that there was a dude named Joe Biden that actually was this. Like, his supporters are setting police cars on fire. He wants to defund the police. He wants to abolish cash bail. He wants to close the prisons. He calls law enforcement the enemy, you know? He's on an anti-cop crusade. Yeah, man, that Biden, I would be there fucking first thing in the morning when the polls open, you know, like, let me vote for this man. Let me vote for him twice. Let me see, how many can we do some voter fraud? Can I get how many ballots can I just go to different polling places and just vote for Biden over and over again? You know what I mean? Like, if Biden was that, I'd be stuffing ballot boxes. I'd be like intimidating Trump supporters when they tried to come in. I'm here to exercise my democratic right. No, you ain't, redneck. Get the fuck lost. I'd be fucking, oh yeah. I'd be hardcore. I'd be a hardcore Bidenite if that was fucking Joe Biden. But that ain't fucking Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a fucking lily-livered centrist pussy. And Trump, you're a fascist faggot. And you know what? When I read this tweet initially, I actually tweeted fascist faggot at Trump. But then I realized that I was just going to get fucking flagged by all the maggots out there. And, of course, Twitter would go see it and be like, uh-oh, he said faggot. Now we got to censor him because he's naughty. I hate Twitter so much. Can I just, as an aside, tell you about how much I hate Twitter? Every single fucking day, you guys, every single day, I write out a tweet. And I look at it, and I say to myself, nope, can't get away with that. And I fucking have to delete it. Sometimes that happens 8 times a day, where I'll look at something that I want to tweet, that I want to say, and I'm just like, nope, can't say it here. And I just wonder, why the fuck do I even bother with this goddamn platform? And I think it's just because, it's where everyone is. It's where everybody's at, so you got to fucking do it. But, man, does it suck. Man, is it stifling. Man, is it lame. And then the places where you can ostensibly go to have more freedom of speech are all just, riddled with fucking, the Jews done it. Oh, you guys, have you heard about what the Jews is up to? It's fuck. So my my choice, you're leaving me with the choice of like, I can either go pal around with the fucking neo-Nazis and the fucking retards over in goddamn loser land, or I can fucking, just like toil under the fucking nanny state, like, don't say nothing that you hurt nobody's little feelings. It's like, fuck this. I hate this paradigm. Can't we just have a place that is robustly pro-free speech, but not full of fucking, like, like chode? Like, you feel like, okay, whatever. It's neither here nor there. It is what it is. I need to find my center. I get educated. Feel the education happening deep down within. Bring the 90s back. I can tell you what, if Twitter had existed in the 90s, it'd be way more rad than it is now. It would first of all, it'd have a badass color scheme, Be all kinds of wacky shit. Be like fucking animated GIFs all over the place. Look like a fucking GeoCities site and shit. Anyway, so I want to talk about this guy, Mr. Marilyn Manson. So I have been a Manson fan since 1998. Maybe a casual fan even a little earlier than that, because I remember being pretty into Sweet Dreams when it came out in 95. So, you could even consider me a 25-year on Manson fan. Or you could consider me at very least a 22-year Manson fan. And during that time, I have found that his works to me have meant a tremendous amount. I've listened to every album, scrutinized every lyric, read the autobiography, read the interviews, watched the interviews, obsessed. I've followed his career and his life more than I have followed anybody's life or career, bar none. I'm not like super. I don't have like a room in my house that's dedicated to like Manson memorabilia and shit. I don't even have all the physical albums or anything. But for me, who's not really super prone to like deep fandom, like Manson's about as deep in any sort of fandom as I get. I love his fucking albums. Even the shitty albums, I love. I have a different, to me, Manson's worst album is better than most bands' best album. By a country mile. By a gothic country mile. And one of the things I've always liked about Marilyn Manson is that he's willing to show us the darkest facets of his personality and his being in a very vulnerable, naked, sort of uncompromising, I will bear the blackest parts of my soul right to you kind of way. And he's made no secret, I think, of the fact that, there's a pretty messed up person behind the art that he's created. And I've known it the entire time. And Manson is no stranger to controversy, of course. Back in the 90s, a lot of times to go to a Marilyn Manson concert, you were crossing a fucking picket line to get there. Because Christians, fundamentalist Christians, showed up en masse to protest his shows, to try to save the people who were attending them. They spread disinformation about, the stuff that they said was going on at Manson shows was next level crazy. They were Manson throws animal like puppies into the crowd to be ripped apart. There was no lie they wouldn't tell. And of course after Columbine, when Manson came back to Colorado after Columbine a few years later, there was a million bomb threats trying to get him not to perform. There was people saying they were going to fucking assassinate him on the stage and stuff like that. So this guy, he's no stranger to controversy or anything. But, I think that the Me Too era presents a new and unique challenge for Marilyn Manson as a performer and as a brand and just as a human being. Because there's been a lot of traction lately, especially now that the new album has come out, the new album We Are Chaos, which I am working on a review of, by the way, because I know a lot of people have asked me what I think of it, and I will be offering my thoughts up very soon. But one of the things that was piggybacked on the release of the new album was a lot of criticism coming from like sort of like the Me Too angle. And it's mostly centered around Manson's relationship with a girl named Evan Rachel Wood, who is on that show Westworld, I believe, at this point. An actress that Manson dated back in 2007, I believe. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video of her testifying. Now, she never mentions him by name, but it's pretty obvious from context clues and stuff and timeline stuff that she is talking about him. So this is part of her testimony. I don't know where she's testifying, if it's before some sort of like congressional panel or whatever, but here she is giving some testimony.
When I was a teenager, I met a man. I looked up to him in many ways and felt like we had a special bond, and I had no intention of it turning into something romantic. When it eventually did, I wasn't sure how to stop it, as he had a certain charisma and power.
All right, I'm going to try to turn this up a little bit. Okay, I actually can't turn it up there. Okay, I'm going to do my best to get this a little louder because she's quiet. Let's see, can I boost the mic settings down here at all? One fucking second here. Okay, I think that's about as loud as I can get it, sorry.
And I quickly surrendered to his charms. In the beginning, he treated me like a princess. I was smart, but a smart 18-year-old is still an 18-year-old, and I thought I had fell in love. It wasn't until much later that I realized everything he had told me was a lie and part of what is called the grooming process. He'd hidden a terrible drug and alcohol problem from me. He moved very fast.
Okay. So, the line, he'd hid a terrible drug and alcohol problem for me, is, and forgive me for saying this, kind of hard to believe. Because we're talking about Marilyn Manson here. Marilyn Manson's pretty publicly had a drug and alcohol problem for a very long time. Interviews, song lyrics, like everything. Like there's never been, like it's been pretty fucking open. Now, I'm not saying that that's like an excuse for any behavior he might have done or anything, but it is kind of hard for me to believe that, he was somehow hiding his drug and alcohol problem when he wasn't. He was hiding it from her while being completely candid about it to literally the rest of the world. But, let's go ahead and proceed.
Relationship, asking me to move in with him almost immediately. There was a certain way he wanted me to look, otherwise I would endure name calling and ridicule. He cut me off from my close friends and family one by exhibiting rage in some form or another when I was in contact with them. The only way I knew how to calm him was to give him what he wanted, which was me all to himself in total isolation. He had bouts of extreme jealousy, which would often result in him wrecking our home, cornering me in a room, and threatening me. I witnessed my abuser threatening people with force or legal action if he worried they would expose him. He bragged about being able to have people killed because he was allegedly friends with multiple gangs, and I watched him illegally collect data on people that he could use as blackmail. By the time I realized I was in a bad situation, I felt completely trapped and terrified.
So I can tell you right now, most of the stuff that she just said, it's not all that hard to believe because he's literally bragged about that kind of shit in interviews and stuff. Like, the idea that this is like some like, oh my God, this is like, whoa, this is the dark side of Manson that he doesn't want you to see. Like, no, I mean, like, Manson has literally fucking has made statements to the effect of like, journalists who write negative articles about me, I will, send thugs to their house to beat the shit out of them. Freedom of speech doesn't come with a dental plan, motherfucker. I know people. I can have people, like, all that shit that she just went through. I've seen it in his interviews. So it is not even remotely hard for me to believe that he said and did everything that she just laid out. So no defense there. I think she's telling the truth about it. Oops. God damn it, I skipped.
It told me was a lie and
went
part of
back
the deadly
somehow.
weapons, which would result in me having severe
Right, I missed
means
something.
of
Hold on.
starvation, sleep deprivation. And when my friends and family tried to intervene, I swiftly told them to leave because I was afraid of what he would do. He broke me down through means of starvation, sleep deprivation, and threats against my life, sometimes with deadly weapons, which would result in me having severe panic attacks where I was unable to breathe or stop shaking. Sometimes he would not allow me to sleep until I participated in acts of fear, pain, torture, and humiliation, which I felt powerless to stop. In some of these tapes, which he also videotaped, in some of these tapes, he can be heard threatening to kill me, threatening my friends, or threatening to kill members of my family. He also threatened to leak parts of the footage or photographs he had taken as a way to keep me quiet.
I mean, that really wouldn't be a very good way to keep you quiet because then it's like, here's absolute confirmation that everything she's saying is true. So that wouldn't really be effective in that regard.
I mustered the courage to leave several times, but he would call my house incessantly and threaten to kill himself. On one occasion, I returned to try and defuse the situation. He cornered me in our bedroom and asked me to kneel while he tied me up by my hands and feet. Once I was restrained, he beat me and shocked.
It goes on. Hold on. I want to let her get through her whole thing here.
He beat me and shocked sensitive parts of my body with a torture device called a violet wand.
So I know what a violet wand is because, you know, I'm me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, depending on, I mean, I don't know. The one that I had experience with because my ex-wife used to be into like some of that electrical shit, not to like get into too much detail about, you know, other people's private sex lives and shit, because obviously she's not my wife anymore. I don't want to get too deep into that, but you know, she had a violet wand and, you know, it's not exactly a fucking, you know, Al-Qaeda Abu Ghraib fucking torture device. All right. Like it's a sex toy.
To him, it was a way for me to prove my loyalty. The worst part was I still felt it was somehow my fault because society had told me I should just leave when someone hits me, but this was so much more complicated and so much scarier than anything had ever prepared me for. I didn't know what to call it. After this incident, I played along with whatever he wanted, enduring constant daily abuse and on occasion rape, until I found a way to escape safely. Years later, my therapist would identify this as Stockholm Syndrome. Once I was finally out of my abuser's control, I did whatever I could to feel safe, which meant putting time and space between me, him, and the abuse. The shame is still overwhelming, and it's taken all of my strength to speak publicly and to pursue this. Even today, the fear of being judged by society is debilitating, and the fear of retaliation from my abuser is paralyzing. By speaking to you today and every day, I put myself at risk, as I have no protection. I've had to go through intense therapy to even fully understand what has happened to me, and I've been diagnosed.
I mean, I don't know what you mean by no protection. You have you're like an actress with shit tons of money. So, I mean, you know, whatever. There's a part where she says that, like, it's complicated. Like, I know that society said I should have left the second he abused me, but it was just so much more complicated than that. Okay, fair enough, but then why are you framing it like it's so simple otherwise? Like, when you don't do the things you're supposed to do, it's like, oh, it was so complicated. You don't get it, it was so complicated. But, like, where are we going to give the charitability of it was complicated to Manson as well? Or is he just like, it's complicated, but it's also black and white, good and evil? You know what I mean?
With complex PTSD. I'm still in the process of working through this. The final push into creating the Phoenix Act was the crushing realization years later that he had done this to several people, and it was very likely there were more victims. So I tried to take my evidence to the state in an attempt to stop this from happening to anyone else. My evidence included photographs and video, not just relying on memory. It cannot be viewed by the state because the statute of limitations on my case has run out. And I've lived with the silence and shame for too long.
Well, I mean, it's the statute of limitations might be up, but the court of public opinion could still see those tapes and photos and evidence, like if you really wanted to put that out there, and judge for themselves.
And it has been unbearable. It's taken years from my life because I was too afraid to tell anyone. I know that this bill will not affect my case, but I urge you to vote yes on the Phoenix Act to create a...
Okay, so she's there to support some kind of Phoenix Act. I don't know what exactly that is.
Their dangerous situations.
Sounds like
Get
worthwhile
the help they need
legislation.
and come back from their trauma in order to pursue justice and stop serial abusers as long as they have undeniable evidence. We do not wish to create new laws or harsher punishments, only more time if the evidence meets the criteria we are putting forward. Thank you for your time and for...
All right, so the law she's defending there sounds perfectly fucking reasonable. And, you know, I think that I find her to be credible in the stuff that she says. Now, obviously, I'm a huge Marilyn Manson fan. I'm not a huge Marilyn Manson fan because I look at him as a bastion of moral virtue. I think he let me know pretty fucking early on that he's not. You know, most of his song lyrics are full of allusions to sadomasochism and, you know, all kinds of crazy shit. Drug use and living life on that edge and living that traditional, you know, very self-indulgent rock star kind of lifestyle. I think that's the image that he's put forth. And from what I'm hearing in this testimony, it sounds like that image is, you know, not theatrical at all. It's just 100% who he really is, what he really lives, what he really embodies. And that makes, I think, his honesty to me all the more kind of profound. It goes deeper, though. Let's go ahead and, like, take another look. This is a guy who claims, and I'm sure it could be verified, to be like basically a Manson roadie, I think, or like a personal assistant to Manson. And here's what he has to say. This is a guy named Dan Cleary. And this Twitter thread has not blown up nearly as much as the stuff that Evan Rachel Wood had to say. So let's take a look at that. Oh, wait, hold on. There's actually some more stuff from this thread that I should talk about. I forgot. So there's also another woman here, Esme Bianco, who I guess was on Game of Thrones, who I'd never even heard of in connection to Manson. So I guess that their relationship, if they had one, was pretty brief. But there is this shit here. This is some whip marks on her back. Here's a picture of her at her birthday party. You can see her commentary here where she explains that picture 1 out of 2, the one with the whip marks, was the injuries you see are real. The whipping that gave me these wounds was filmed in the name of art. I used to look at this photo with pride because I thought it was a sign of great devotion to my abuser. Now I look at it with horror. Despite the many years that have passed since this happened, my night terrors and PTSD symptoms continue to get worse. I am a domestic violence survivor, and hashtag I am not okay. 2 out of 2, which is the one of her smiling. This photo was taken on my birthday many years ago. The night before I had been locked in the bedroom alone and had not slept. I was surviving on very little food and was physically and mentally exhausted. I often wasn't allowed to sleep. In this photo, my boyfriend is giving me a birthday present. Despite the plastered-on smile, I can see the emptiness and fear in my eyes. When we went for dinner later, and he spent the whole evening berating me because he didn't want to go out, I was not okay then, and I am not okay now. And you see that Evan Rachel Wood has actually liked this post. And you can also see that this picture of her with Manson, this was a photo from her birthday, where you can see that her outfit and hairstyle are the same as they are in this photograph, thus corroborating the idea that, you know, this post is about Manson. And also, like, if you just listen to the lyrics of Marilyn Manson, I mean, there's definitely lyrics in there about whipping. And, you know, like, I think of Pistol Whipped, you know, where he talks about undoing his belt and someone walking away with a red welt and all this other stuff. So, like, obviously into that, like, sadistic sex. And, yeah, Manson is chubby there. Kind of not really the main thing I want you to focus on, but hey, yeah, he is chubby there. So here's that roadie I was talking about, or personal assistant, or whatever the fuck he is. Dan Cleary. This is his thread. I worked directly with Marilyn Manson in 2007, 2008 for his touring band when Evan Rachel Wood was with him. She was on tour with us the entire time. Over the course of 1 year, he turned her into a different person. He broke her. I didn't realize until later in life. I then started working for him as his personal assistant in 2014, 2015. So this is later, years later. I saw firsthand over and over him being an abusive, violent boyfriend to his girlfriend, Lindsay. Over the almost 2-year stretch, I saw her in tears and him screaming and belittling her more often than I didn't. He would threaten to kill her, cut her up, bury her, embarrass her to the world, making her cry and fear him, made him feel good. He would remind her that she'd be homeless without him and make fun of her learning disabled family member. Everyone in his immediate circle knows this, but everyone, including myself, is afraid to say anything because of the code. It's frowned upon to tell people's private business. Those of us who stay quiet do it because we were making a living, and it's hard to find work in music if you can't keep your mouth shut, but enough is enough. His fans will be angry and not believe it because they don't want to. I understand that. I'm sorry to them, but it is true. I will also say that a reason I stayed quiet is because of a kind thing he did. On tour in 2007, my stepmom died suddenly. The Manson camp flew me home for a week on their dime and paid me anyway. I will still never forget that, and it sincerely meant a lot to me. But as I see so many people defending him and calling his accusers liars, I've just had enough. Believe them, I saw it. I have nothing to gain from this and plenty to lose. There are people in his band/crew that I'm still close to. My apologies to them, but they also know I'm right. He is a brilliant musician, an incredibly smart and funny man, but he's also a mentally and physically abusive drug addict that has the ability to be super kind and emotional. It's hard to wrap your head around. I'm not asking for him to be canceled. Fuck all that cancel stuff. My sole focus is for people to not call these women liars. They're not. Manson gave me a living for a long time, gave me great music as a kid. I appreciate the opportunities. I saw the entire world for the first time with him. This was not easy, but I had to do it. I stand by it. Now, I cannot vouch for the legitimacy of this dude's story. I don't know if this guy is really connected with Manson. I have not seen any evidence that he is. So until he is, it's just a dude with a story. I guess I blacked out here. I'll have to switch cams. But you know, this kind of shit, obviously, it really brings me down, especially when, you know, Manson just put out this new album. It sounds really fucking good. I'll wait till the review comes out before I fucking talk about that shit. Now, when it comes to artists and the art, some people have this attitude of, there's obviously the cancel culture attitude that's all about, like, cancel, cancel, cancel. If you're not morally pure, you should be canceled. And obviously, you know, if even some of this shit's true, Manson is not morally pure, but of course, I never thought he fucking was. And I buy his albums because I like his music and I like I like his artistry. Not because I think like, oh wow, he's like a morally good person. I gotta fucking support him because I can't wait to give him money to support his goodness. It's because I like the music. Now, other people say separate the art and the artist. And I actually hate these people more. I actually hate the separate the art and the artist people more than I hate the cancel culture people. The reason for that is because you can't separate the art from the fucking artist. It's idiotic. Like, everything an artist does comes from them. You can't separate Picasso from a Picasso. You can't separate Van Gogh from a Van Gogh. You can't separate Marilyn Manson from Marilyn Manson. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't do it because it's too much of them. It's of their being. It's of their person. Now, I do want to offer some mitigation here, but also some damnation, I guess, as well. So this is, I do want to fucking point out that this is their relationship. The Manson and Evan Rachel Wood relationship is from 2007. Okay? So I do want to point out, I guess, first that back in 2016, 9 years after this abuse happened, 9 years later, this is what Evan Rachel Wood said to Rolling Stone. She said about the Manson relationship. She said, I met somebody that promised freedom and expression and no judgments, and I was craving danger and excitement. Craving danger and excitement. I looked at my mother one day and said, Mom, I'm going to get on this tour bus for 8 months and see the world and have a crazy journey and find myself. And if people aren't okay with that, I'm sorry, but I can't live my life for other people. So this is her attitude about Manson in 2016, 9 years after this, like, horrible, oh my God, this abuse. I also find it telling that in her fucking testimony about this Phoenix Act, she's like, well, I didn't realize till years later I'd been abused, you know? I didn't really realize it till years had passed. All right. I mean, I get that to some extent. But, like, really, it took you fucking... By 2016, she still hadn't realized it. So it was years and years after that, like, oh, wait a minute. Holy shit. That was abusive. I was craving danger and excitement. Yeah, you found it. You went to a dude you knew was emotionally unstable because it was exciting. It was exciting. It was dangerous. It was outside the fucking norm. It's like, I'm going to go explore myself by living on this fringe. Guess what? Life on the fringe can be kind of fucked up. That's why it's the fringe. Not trying to victim blame, just trying to fucking offer a little bit of contextualization. Now, this is Manson in a public interview in 2009 talking to Spin Magazine. Okay? This is Marilyn Manson's own words. This is Marilyn Manson being, like, this is not Manson caught candidly on tape. Manson fucking, in a secret hidden camera interview. Like, no, this is Manson giving a fucking interview directly to Spin Magazine that he knows is going to be published. This is what he has to say. They ask him about Evan Rachel Wood and the breakup. And here's what he says. I sing about it on Into the Fire. I say, if you want to hit bottom, don't bother trying to take me with you. My lowest point was Christmas Day 2008 because I didn't speak to my family. My walls were covered in scrawlings of the lyrics and cocaine bags nailed to the wall. Yeah, he really was hiding that drug problem. He hid his drug problem from me as he's nailing cocaine to the wall. She's on the Manson tour bus, craving because she craves danger and excitement. But, oh, man, I didn't know he had a drug problem. He's literally a fucking drug zombie who's animated by cocaine, okay? And I did have an experience where I was struggling to deal with being alone and being forsaken and being betrayed by putting your trust in one person and making the mistake of that being the wrong person. And that's a mistake everyone can relate to. I made the mistake of trying to desperately grasp on and save that and own it. And every time I called her that day, I called 158 times. I took a razor blade and I cut myself on my face or on my hands. The picture, Marilyn Manson, the picture of mental stability. I look back, and it was a really stupid thing to do. This was intentional. This was scarification, and this was like a tattoo. I wanted to show her the pain she put me through. It was like, I want you to physically see what you've done. It sounds made up, but it's completely true, and I don't give a shit if people believe it or not. I've got the scars to prove it. I didn't want people to ask me every time I did an interview, oh, is this record about your relationship with your ex-girlfriend? But that damage is part of it and the song. I Want to Kill You Like They Do in the Movies is about my fantasies. I have fantasies every day about smashing her skull in with a sledgehammer. It's Manson's own words. Like public words. Tons of people read this interview in Spin Magazine and were like, okay. He wants to bash her head with with a sledgehammer, you know. even prior to that, if you read Marilyn Manson's book, Long Hard Road Out of Hell, he actually talks about an attempted murder on an ex-girlfriend of his that broke his heart. He was actually, like he describes in the book, setting out with another friend of his with like a can of gasoline, intending to light the bitch's house on fire. You know? That book was published in like 1997. Like, just openly admits, like, yeah, I almost murdered someone one time. I mean, I ended up not doing it, but, you know, I almost did. So here's Patricia Arquette saying, Marilyn Manson cutting himself 158 times when he called Evan Rachel Wood after breakup is not love, it's abuse. I would say it's not love or abuse. I would say it's profound mental illness. Like, if it's abuse to anyone, it's abuse to himself. I mean, I guess you can frame it as psychological abuse to Evan Rachel Wood. Because, I mean, I guess that would weigh on me if some ex of mine was, like, cutting themselves to get my attention. I'd be like, what the fuck? But I'm also going to recognize that person's fucked up. That person's got problems. She said, why the hell was this okay? Marilyn Manson says he wants to beat Evan Rachel Wood with a sledgehammer. It's not okay. It's not about it being okay. It's about it being honest. It's about it being his genuine human emotion in that fucking moment. There's a lot of people who have dark thoughts. There's a lot of people who have fucking had negative thoughts about an ex. There's a Chris Rock routine about how, you know, you don't love someone if you've never had a violent thought about them. You don't love someone if you haven't thought about fucking killing them and rolling them up in a carpet and throwing them in the fucking river, and the only thing that stopped you was a crime show on TV that's like, holy shit, they can do that? But not everyone talks about that side of themselves. Not everyone fucking wears that on their sleeves. Certainly not many people have the balls to fucking say it in an interview with Spin. But is it balls, or is it just like him living in his own world and not realizing that like that kind of talk could get him in trouble? Or does he just not give a shit? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But here's what I do know. When Manson, in his most recent single, sings about how he's fucked up and complicated, those aren't just words. There's real truth behind that. You know what I mean? And there's lyrics, like, just go fucking read, like, especially of the last 3 albums, go read the fucking lyrics. Set even the music aside and just go read the lyrics that this dude has written. And tell me if any of this even comes across as a surprise or, like, remotely like, whoa, this is out of left field. So I can tell you, as a fan, as a guy who's pored over his every word, as a guy who's, like, read his books and read his interviews and been following him, none of this is shocking to me. None of this is fucking shocking to me. Does that mean, by the way, that it's like excused or like, oh, well, it's okay. It's okay what he done. Don't fucking misconstrue shit. I ain't saying that. I ain't saying for a second any of this is like, this is all right. I endorse it. Treat your girlfriend or wife like that. You know, and Chelsea will let you know I don't fucking treat her that way. And if she says otherwise, I'll fucking to the moon. No, I mean, like that's fucked up. Yeah, that's bad. That's wrong. And you know, it's fucked up that there's even like a statute of limitations on it, especially if there's really video evidence of some of the stuff that Evan Rachel Wood was saying. Then yeah, she should have been able to fucking turn that over and you know, be like, okay, here's what I got. I'm not saying that anything, I'm not trying to put up a defense of Marilyn Manson or his behavior or his conduct. I'm also not trying to just believe what other people have said about him, because obviously there's 2 sides to every story. We haven't heard his side. We don't know how he would, we don't even know, he hasn't made a statement about any of this. He hasn't come out and said, like, here's what I'm thinking about all this shit that's floating around. He hasn't made any sort of response to, like, the stuff that people are saying. So we haven't heard that side. But, you know, I don't really know what he's going to say to mitigate it. I would think it'd be pretty silly to deny it when it's like, here's your own words, here's that, like, you know. But what I am saying is, like, it's not going to change the way I feel about him as an artist. I'm not going to stop listening. But you know what? If you're somebody who hears that stuff and says to yourself, that's not the kind of, I don't want to financially support that. I think it's kind of a silly thing to think like, oh, I'm financially supporting that. No, I'm financially supporting the music. I'm financially supporting the art that's being created. I'm not like giving him money like, yeah, beat Evan Rachel Wood some more. Here, take it. Here's $100, smacker, you know? You know, it's like a silly logic that if you take it to other aspects of society, you see that doesn't, like, it's like, I'm going to buy this Subway sandwich. Oh, hey, did you know that, that fucking Jared at Subway did all that fucked up shit, you know, fucking was using his charity to fucking, molest kids and shit, you know, and it's, so when you ate at Subway, you were supporting that. Or, I mean, hey, let's even fucking take it down to an even more microcosm level. Like, maybe the dude that made your sandwich at the fucking Subway is a fucked up piece of shit. You know, maybe he's going to go home that night and fucking chain his girlfriend to the fucking, the heater and fucking smack her with a fucking wrench or something. You don't know what the fuck's going on in this world. Are you going to say like, well, I'm never going to eat that Subway. I'm never going to do that. Like, money kind of just flows through our system. This is capitalism, right? This is one of the fucking big problems of capitalism is that, there's no more like, oh shit, the chocolate that I eat is picked by slaves in Africa that have no rights and are like at gunpoint, and the diamonds and the clothes that I wear are fucking manufactured in sweatshops and all this stuff. Like, there's all this, like, money goes to like really reprehensible shit. Entire industries are built on like exploitation and cruelty. So it's like, it's really fucking messy. And I just think that this idea of like, I'm going to withdraw financial support. But if you want to do that, if that's how you feel, if it's like, I don't want to fucking listen to this album because this guy's a piece of shit and he fucking is a misogynist and he abuses women, I respect that. But that's not the call I'm making. The call I'm making is We Are Chaos is a dope-ass album. And every album he's put out before it has been a dope-ass album. And I'm going to continue to listen to albums as long as he's making them. I'm going to continue to read his interviews. I'm going to continue to listen to his insight. And I'm going to continue to, at least if nothing else, respect his fucking profound honesty about who he is. Yeah, that's where I'm at on it. And, I'm not trying to influence anybody else. I'm not trying to tell you how you got to feel about this stuff. I'm not telling you have to believe this. I'm not telling you got to fucking disbelieve this. I'm not trying to convince you that Manson's guilty or innocent of any of this shit. I'm just here to offer up my opinion and tell you what I'm going to do about it. What I'm going to do about it is nothing, because there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to fucking, I'm going to listen to the fucking music. He's not my best friend. I'm not going over his house. I'm not fucking like, hey, Manson, what's up, dog? I'm detached. For me, it's about the music. It's about the lyrics. It's about the fucking honesty. It's about the creation of art that can move me. And like, I knew going in this guy was fucked up. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this is another thing. This is a video for Marilyn Manson's video. This is Marilyn Manson's video for Running to the Edge of the World, which was an officially released video, but I notice is no longer, like, it's not up on his Vivo or anything like that. Right? And I think probably the reason why is because in the video, there's literally, like, at the end of the video, most of it is just him singing with this fucking weird veil over his face. But then at the very end, there's like scenes of him like punching an obvious like stand-in for Evan Rachel Wood. He's like punching her around, slapping her in the face and shit. And it's just like, You know, if she's to be believed, he's literally recreating stuff that he did to her in this music video. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much everything. I mean, like, I wish I could have some kind of like final note to like say about it, like put some kind of cap on it, like, oh yeah, here's how you should feel, or here's what my opinion is, but I don't have it. I don't have that for you. I don't have some super strong opinion one way or the other where I can like crystallize this shit or tell you who's telling the truth or who's lying or like what the real deal is. I don't fucking know. But I do know that I'm going to keep listening. And I think it's your personal choice if you're a Manson fan like I am, whether you be casually or like super into it. Like it's your choice whether or not you're going to continue to listen to it. But I think it's, you know, it's important to say that this shit is out there. This shit has been said. These sort of things have been put forth. And they're gaining traction. And I think that, you know, if I'm going to continue to be a fucking fan and if I'm going to put out a fucking review, you know, tomorrow or the next day and, like, tell you what I thought about We Are Chaos, I felt like I have to say something about this stuff. You know, I guess ultimately I'm going to fucking take the tact of, you know, I don't know what's true. It's he said, she said. There's supposedly some tapes out there. I ain't seen them. We know that Evan Rachel Woods was singing a different tune in 2016. We know that roadie dude was saying that he didn't really realize until years later that Manson was abusive. You know, it's like, oh, you know, like there's a lot of this shit where it's like years pass and then all of a sudden, like, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. That was abuse. I get it that maybe abuse is not always super evident in the time that it happens. But like, why are there so many people that are like, you know, at the time it seemed okay, but now that I look back fucking 15 years later, wait a fucking minute. That shit wasn't okay. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a lot of stuff is being reframed after a lot of time has passed. So that's kind of fucking strange, right? But whatever. You know, I don't know. I don't know if this is... Like, I guess probably I guess the most generous interpretation you could have for Manson would be that he was into BDSM. He did these BDSM relationships. The girls at the time seemed into it and excited by it. But then, you know, as they went on with their lives, they looked back on it and said, oh my God, that was abuse. So maybe he's like a BDSM dom, but he's really not good at communicating and he's really not good at like providing proper aftercare and that kind of shit. And so, you know, this was just bound to happen. I guess that'd be like the generous interpretation. The ungenerous interpretation is that, you know, he's like a total misogynist monster that, you know, manipulates women and, you know, wears them down and then controls them and is like super jealous, super fucking heated, super fucking angry all the time and just manipulative, controlling, all that fucking stuff. So that'd be like the worst interpretation, I guess. But you know, I don't know which one of those are true. And I don't know if more is going to come out or if it's going to be something that like this case is going to develop from here. Or if there's going to be more people that fucking tell stories, or what kind of evidence there's going to be behind them. But yeah. That's pretty much it. I don't want to fucking go too deep into it, but let's go ahead and now wrap the stream up by reading Streamlabs, Super Chats, and all that good stuff. Actually, I'm going to take a small break before I do that. I will be back in like 3 minutes. I'm going to go refresh my drink, and that's going to be that. I'm going to be back with some Streamlabs Super Chats. You know, I'll go ahead and leave this screen up. I would normally switch over to my, like, this screen. But I'm not going to do that because I want anybody who decides to send in a Streamlabs or Super Chat to have it appear on the screen, and it won't if I'm not here. So if I'm not on this screen. So yeah, go ahead. If you guys want to get your Streamlabs or Super Chats in before I do the little read session and go through them and respond and stuff, then go ahead and do that now. Back in a moment to answer some questions, respond to some comments, and so on and so forth. So, my wife has accused me of some hypocrisy. She said that during that Manson rant, I was like, you know, I said I don't like when people say separate the art from the artist, but then I went on to do that, she feels, by being like, I don't really give a fuck what he done. I just like the music. So let me make the distinction here. Separating the art from the artist, be like, I like the music, therefore I'm going to overlook, you know, the untoward things he might have done. You can't really do that with Manson, if you're honest, because so much of that untoward shit, so much of that fucked upness we just talked about is right on display in the music. You know what I mean? So there's really no separate, like it's in there. It's inexorably in there. Like it's in the lyrics. Like there's talk about the sadism, there's talk about the controllingness, there's talk about the fucking inflexible personality, there's talk about how fucked up he is inside. Like it's all there. You know what I mean? Like it's all in there. There's no fucking escaping it. Like you gotta fucking come to terms with it. Like, you know, if you're gonna listen to the dude's music, you gotta be like, all right. It's like if you're listening to Charles Manson, honestly. Which I'll listen to Charles Manson's music. Like, I'm not listening to it like, yeah, pretty cool song, but this dude was a murderer. Like, it's both things are in my mind simultaneously. Like, when I'm listening to Charles Manson's music, and he's like, Sick City, yeah, restless people. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, this is his indictment of society, and this was also part of the justification for his crimes, you know? And, you know, so it's not separate. Like, they're on the same level. Like, it's all part of one thing. And that's kind of the job of the artists, honestly, is to bare their soul, to give their honest assessment of society, and to be truthful about the way that they perceive the world. Anyone who's not doing that is not a fucking artist. All right. So, now that potential hypocrisy has been, discussed and explained what I was talking about, you know, and don't worry I'm going to beat Chelsea later, like my idol Marilyn Manson clearly would have me do. I'm going to lock her in a room and starve her and whip her and then tell her it's like, this is art, bitch. That's what I'm going to do. So don't worry. She's going to be under control. She's going to be under control. You know, if I actually try to do that, I'm pretty sure that she'd end up fucking tying me to the bed and whipping me. So maybe 15 years later, I could be like, she abused me one night. She kept flicking my ear. I don't want to look. If you're a victim of, if you've ever been in an abusive relationship or you're an abuse victim or something, and you feel like anything I've said has made light of that, then you know it's just because I'm a piece of shit. Let's just put that out there. All right, enough. Let's get to the fucking. Let's get to the donations. Let's get to the money, huh? Enough of this fucking shit. Let's fucking get to the money. Money. Take these glasses off. It's just a little easier to read without them blocking my view. I tend to want to focus on the frame a little bit when that's there. Okay, so let's start with the STREAMLABS donations. So this is from Thule Blue, gave $6.66, and he says, or she says, woke people try to repeal civil rights legislation in California. Look up Affirmative Action Amendment or Prop 16, repeal Prop 209. Prop 209 are the original protections against discrimination in hiring. They want to get rid of that. Okay. That sounds interesting. It sounds fascinating. We should probably look at that, I guess. Affirmative Action Amendment, Prop 16. Let's ascertain what's going on here. Okay. So let's try to figure it out. Oops, that's wrong. California Prop 16, repeal Proposition 209, Affirmative Action Amendment 2020. California Proposition 16, the repeal Proposition 209, Affirmative Action Amendment is on the ballot in California as a legislatively referred constitutional amendment on November 3rd, 2020. A yes vote supports this constitutional amendment to repeal Proposition 209, which stated that the government and public institutions cannot discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to persons on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, blah, 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 blah. A no vote opposes this constitutional amendment, thereby keeping Proposition 209, which stated that the government and public institutions cannot discriminate. I mean, why is this even... Like, what's the fucking push behind this? All right, I obviously don't have time to get totally acquainted with this, but my initial reaction is that that you should not repeal Proposition 209. Proposition 209 sounds reasonable. Proposition 16 sounds a little crazy. But you know, I don't know. I'd have to look into the reasoning behind this before I could make a determination about where I stand on it. But that's my initial thoughts. Okay. Controde gave $5. Says, let me remind you that Obama's betrayal was not entirely his fault. By that point, he was totally defeated by the opposition. That's total bullshit. I don't give Obama any kind of pass like that. When he was elected in a landslide. It was a gigantic blue wave. He had enormous support. He had a huge mandate to accomplish anything he needed to accomplish, and he totally failed. He made a shit ton of early capitulations. He stocked his cabinet with fucking bureaucrats and swamp people and lobbyists. He did not deliver on any of his promises. He fucked Obamacare up the ass. It was supposed to have a public option. It did not have a public option. And then he fucking went on to do warrantless wiretapping, and he was worse than anybody else on that. He upped deportations. He upped drone strikes. He was a piece of fucking shit from the word go. I give him no excuse for his behavior whatsoever. Have you seen the reports? Oh, sorry. This is The Filthy American. said, gave 666 and says, have you seen the reports about Trump preventing the DHS and FBI and Justice Department from addressing white supremacist terrorism and right-wing extremism? I have not seen that. Feel free to DM that to me on Twitter. Degenerate Liberty gave 20 very generous dollars and says, Joe, shoot him in the leg, Biden equals radical leftist. I know, right? What the fuck? Joe fucking Biden, who, like, the most, his fucking response to the BLM protest was like, yeah, shoot him in the leg. You know, could have just shot him in the leg. That guy, we're supposed to buy that he's some kind of fucking crazy, like, gateway drug to Marxism or something. It's like, fuck off. You're so fucking nuts. Darth Crystal gave 666. It says 666 and says Trump supporters are literally a fascist cult. Yep. Aiden Falconer gave 666 and says, hey, TJ, thanks for the years of brain food. Well, thank you. B12 gave 666 and says, do you feel Trump is genuinely a fascist or just an authoritarian? I don't really feel like there's a difference. You know, the definition of fascist, though, I guess, is it's not a super well-defined in the same way that, like, socialism is, where it's like, oh, that's when the workers control the means of production. Like, there's not a simple one-sentence answer to what fascism is. So I guess there is some wiggle room there. Yeah, I don't really see a huge difference there. The only difference maybe is how much of that power you can actually get for yourself. I think if Trump was left to his own, if there wasn't like a system of checks and balances still kind of in place, then Trump would be a fascist. As of now, he's just an authoritarian with fascist aspirations. Hyen gave 666 and says, people yelling / typing Trump 2020 are the same tards who would yell free bird at a performer. I went and saw the band Cold a number of years back, not because I like Cold, because I think Cold sucks. I went and saw the band Cold because because my brother liked him. Scotty liked him. So he's the one that's got to answer for that shit. But there was a really obnoxious douchebag there that was just the entire time was yelling at the performers. The Scooter Ward, I think his name is, if I'm not mistaken. Just kept yelling at him over and over that he needs to play Send in the Clowns, play Send in the Clowns, play some old shit, just screaming the entire time. It was really fucking annoying and really obnoxious, and I wish someone would have bludgeoned him to death with a sledgehammer like Manson wanted to do to Evan Rachel Wood. The Worms Hole gave $10 and says, found you in 2008 when I was in lockstep with my Republican family, then again in 2012 when I became a feminist SJW, been hate-watching you for years, and along the way became a fan. 2020 TJ is better than 2011 TJ. Also, do another dark and twisted Disney endings, please. Not the most popular video I've ever done, but, it was fun. So, there's always a possibility of a sequel. Jack gave $7.47 and says, is the Shapiro Zone still a thing? I didn't have time to set it up before this stream. I was just struggling to fill the stream with content. So, but yeah, it'll return again in the future, I'm sure. Dragon in the West gave $2 and says, the woke people are making fun. The woke people they are making fun of is the parody you can be. I don't know what you're trying to say, man. I'm sorry. Beyond Philosophy gave $1 and says, my latest vid explains woke neo-segregationism is just right-wing tribalism expressed through progressive posturing. Too many idiots are reducing it. It's your moral responsibility to offset that. Okay. Interesting. Go ahead and send me that video. Just DM that to me, too. Spinosaurus Egyptiacus gave 666, one of my frequent donors here. Nice guy. Because right now, I'm sorry. It looks like this is a multi-part question. He submitted it in parts, so I got to fucking read it in order. So he gave 666 like 4 times, and here's what he asked over the course of those. Hey, TJ, I asked you this on Twitter earlier, but since you were streaming right now, I guess I'll ask right here. I recently started watching Star Trek. So far, I've watched the original series, the animated series, the original movies, continued in my next, basically Next Generation, and I've liked them all so far. I have to ask, is Will Wheaton Patrick Stewart's nephew or something? His acting and dialogue is so cringe. I don't see how he could have gotten on the show unless he is related to one of the cast members or something. I'm on season 1, so I was wondering if his acting or character gets any better in the later seasons, because right now his Wesley character is the most annoying Star Trek character I've ever seen. Okay, so there's good news and there's bad news. So the bad news is that Gene Roddenberry, when he created The Next Generation, he decided that he wanted to have he basically wanted to have 3 Mary Sues, or 3 Gary Stews, if you prefer, in the show. So Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard was supposed to represent the old man version of Gene Roddenberry. Riker was supposed to be more like the young, suave, middle-aged, I guess, Gene Roddenberry, or youngerish Gene Roddenberry. And Wesley Crusher was supposed to be like young Gene Roddenberry. So these are supposed to be 3 expressions of the same kind of character. And there was this kind of triad. And he, for some reason, Gene Roddenberry even famously stated that if you hate Wesley Crusher, which many people did, he was a super unpopular character. If you hate Wesley Crusher, Gene Roddenberry said, you hate me. And I was just like, well, Gene, I don't know what to tell you, but I guess I fucking hate you because he's awful. So the good news is that Gene Roddenberry died about 2 years into The Next Generation, and they pretty much wrote Wesley off the show. They didn't entirely write him off the show because that would have been too mean maybe to Gene and his legacy, but they, for the most part, wrote him off the show. There's actually even a couple of episodes with him that are not too bad in later seasons, but don't worry. After when you're done with season 2, you're pretty much done with the Wesley years, because Gene Roddenberry died, and he was the one that fucking was keeping that kid on the show. So the show honestly does get a lot better after Gene Roddenberry dies. I mean, let's just be real. Gene Roddenberry, he had a vision for Star Trek, and some of it was good, and some of it was, he needed to die. Anyway, let's see here. I'm gonna make sure I don't skip nobody here. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna skip anybody. Okay. So Big Fart gave $6.69 and says, would you let Justin Bieber suck you off? As a matter of principle, no. Because he's just too lame. I don't want it. Star Fox gave some money and said, I half expect Trump to promise more aid / stimulus only if America reelects him. What's that, America? You didn't reelect me? He'd more or less say, well, your jobless woes aren't my problem anymore. Gotta wait till late January. Joe might do something for you. So basically saying that if Trump lost the election, he would just tell America to go fuck itself and be like, well, fuck you then. I'm going to spend the last few months of my fucking term just fucking you at every corner. So let's see. Genetic T-Girl gave $6.69 and says, I watch you in DFF so much to a point where it feels like I know you all personally. That is what's called a parasocial relationship. Anywho, here's your money, you sexy piece of shit. Wow, thank you. Andrew Walker gave $4.20 and says, thoughts on Sargon of Akkad? You were friendly back in the day, but it seems to have fallen all the way down the alt-right pipeline. I have not kept too close of a tab on Sargon. I'm not really looking to stir drama pots on these streams or on my channel. I want to focus on things that matter. People don't tend to be super interesting to me unless they're major movers and shakers in the world beyond what any fucking YouTuber is. So yeah, I'm not really super keen on. I haven't watched this shit in a long time. Here's what I can say. In the time that I knew him, we were never super close friends or anything, but we were friendly acquaintances, and he was always super nice to me, and I always found him to be a polite, respectful guy, who I thought was pretty reasonable. Now I know that he's got some pretty right-wing views these days, and I probably disagree with him there. I don't know if we could have a reasonable conversation about shit or if it would be antagonistic or whatever, but it's not really something I'm like trying to get into, but that's my thoughts on it. Freakadelic gave $15 and said, which candidate do you think will outsnort the other guy in amphetamines for offsetting dementia in debates by second guessing how much the other snorted only to be the... Okay. You gave $15, so I'm really trying to get through this. Only to be the one to pull his pants down on stage and scream at his balls because they're singing off key. Vote. Okay, that comment was beyond me, sir. Thanks for that. Matthew Joseph gave $4. Says thanks for the laughs. You're welcome. And then I think that's all of the Streamlabs, although some might have come in since I started reading this. Let's make sure none did. Okay. Looks like a fucking couple might have. Yeah. Okay. So T-Rex gave $6.66 and says, I think you may have been tired at the end of your stream and don't remember, but you forgot to respond to my DM on Twitter about my animation of your Trump cracks video. Here's a link anyway. Okay. So I don't want to be mean. But when I started watching that video, I really didn't feel like the animation had anything to do with what I was saying. So I'm not trying to, like, I didn't want to say anything rude to someone because if you spent some time on that, I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't like it or something. It's just that I looked at it and I didn't really see how the animation synced with the words. Now granted, I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of skipped around, but like it always seemed like what I was talking about and what was on the screen being animated had very little or nothing to do with each other. So that was why I didn't respond to it. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to give it a second chance. Feel free to DM me again, and I'll give the whole thing a fair shake and reassess it. So, sorry about that. The Pulminator gave $2 and says, watch the French-Canadian thriller Incendies. It's directed by Denis Villeneuve. Its twist makes it hard to compare without spoiling it. Okay, well, I'm probably not going to remember to do that, but you can DM it to me. Anything like that can be DM'd. So, although I guess, let's go ahead and look at some super chats now. There's usually way more of these than there are the other ones, so try to get through it quick. All right, super chats. Okay. So the one that's right up on the screen right now is from Fooker. I'm going to go ahead and change the mic configuration here since I'm using this camera now. Fooker gave $6.66 and said, DFF in your streams keep me from blowing my brains out during my night shift. Thanks. Hey, man, we're here for you. Jacob Ponce gave $10 and says AOC left fellow progressives Ilhan Omar out to dry when Ilhan called out Israel-Palestine deal. AOC mostly trustworthy. Nina Turner even more so. Nina over AOC. Ideally, Nina/AOC 2024. Hey, at this point, if anybody who can bring an end to the neoliberal corporatist fucking control of the Democratic Party, I don't care if they're flawed. They can have problems. Everyone does. But I'll take an AOC any day. Over a Joe Biden, even if she's got problems, which I'm not saying she doesn't. Jickery, maybe that's how it's pronounced. Jickery gave $20 and says, you look great these days. Stay safe from one yeehaw boy to another. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm glad I'm looking great. I'm really liking my beard. It's kind of fun to grow it out. I'm not really liking the hair too much. Well, actually, it's not looking too bad these days. But, I was kind of hoping to, I don't know. I'm going to grow it out a little bit, like enough so where I can actually like brush it some way. Because right now it's just just poofy. I'm not really down with the poofy hair. BJ Smirk gave $2 and says, why don't you stream to TJ Does Life anymore? Because those streams I used to do on TJ Does Life, I now do privately for patrons because it's just more content we can give to our patrons, and I like to put as much on that Patreon as possible. Our strategy on Patreon is give our patrons as much fucking shit as we possibly can because, you know, we want them to feel like it's really worth their fucking money. We know that there's lots of places they can go. There's lots of shit they can sign up for. You know, there's fucking entire streaming services and shit that you can get for around the same price. So we really feel like we got to be competitive with that. You know, we fucking try to make sure that our fans get as much of us as they possibly can get. We fucking work hard to make sure that we're putting out as much content as possible without burning ourselves out, of course. And that's kind of how we roll. We want people to feel like it's a tremendously good value to sign up for our Patreon. You know, there's a shit ton of content there, and that's just one thing on there. The little personal streams that I do on there, they're nothing like these streams I do here. They're way more chill. Usually there's only like 100 to 200 people in there, and it's just way more just answering questions. And it's like, I'm not feeling like an urge. I don't feel like I need to be like, yeah, man, what's up? You know, woo! I don't feel like I got to put like a shit ton of energy into it. It's more just like how I would be if you were just chilling here with me, sitting on my couch. So they're more boring is what I'm saying. But, you know, if you like those kind of streams, and some people do because they're way more intimate and shit, then those are where they are. That's where they are. And I do them pretty often. I think I've done like 36 of them so far, something like that on that shit. And they're usually like 5 hours long. So who knows how many hours of fucking streaming I've done for the patrons at this point. What is we got here? I'm gonna get back to the ones that are coming in now, so don't feel like you got to stop if you feel like sending one in. This stuff will be read shortly. I just got to catch up. Maybe Potatoes, $2 says, have you seen the new theremin trees video? I don't even know what theremin trees is. Hold on. The fuck is a theremin tree? Theremin trees. YouTube. Videos. Resisting emotional blackmail when compassion corrupts. 32 minutes, 22 seconds. Yeah, no, I haven't seen this, and I don't really feel like I want to. This all seems really lame. I don't want this. Sorry. I'm not an atheist. Is there anything? Oh, I'll get to that in a minute, actually. Jacob Ponce gave $5. Said, Nina Turner to be a 2024 candidate for president. Confirmed. Don't trust AOC after placating the censure. Okay, gotcha. That's what you pretty much said before. The one and only W gave $2. Is RIP Cinema for Cynics. I happen to know for a fact that Paul DeZico is working on a new Cinema for Cynics video, and it is a sequel. But I won't tell you any more than that. Jared Gunzel gave $6.16 and says, have some money. Thank you. I appreciate that. Have some stream. Tropical Depression Z said, are you going to finish the Jordan Peterson book? The chapters you posted were really good. I have to, so far I've posted the introduction of that 2 years ago, and I have 4 chapters so far. So right now I'm creating chapters at a breakneck pace of 2 chapters a year. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to finish it one day, but I don't know I don't know what year that day will be in. Hopefully it won't be too far from now. Chaos and Rush gave $5 and says, what do you think about Trump admitting he lied about the severity of COVID? I mean, in any reasonable country, it would, it's beyond me that there's just no consequences for him. Skeptical Contrarian gave $5, says, quick, while TJ's not here, let's ask him a pointless question. Do you like Degent, TJ? I don't know what that is. Pong Master Fong gave $2. Fezer Rezer gave £5. Says, tell us how Bernie can still win. We can still do this. What happens is everyone else on Earth dies, and then Bernie is president, of the world. Pongmaster Fung gave $5, says, you got beef with Dusty. Seems like you had problems with him in other vids. I guess we're cool at the moment, so whatever. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Hakade gave $5, says, why years pass and they don't say anything is because people won't stand up for themselves or other when they have the money to lose. I don't know what you're saying. Brian B gave $10, didn't say nothing. Thank you, Brian. Pongmaster Fong gave $2, his favorite Manson song, Fight Song. Yeah, that's not my favorite. My favorite Manson song is probably Saturnalia. On the new album, I don't want to talk about anything I like on the new album yet because I'm doing a review, so you can look forward to that in the next couple days. Luka Jovic gave 250 RSDs. I don't know what the fuck that is. I guess it's Serbian money. It says, go buy me a pack of smokes. Okay, so I guess that's how much. I guess 250 Serbian bucks is how much a pack of smokes is. Pongmaster Fong gave $5. Very generous of Pongmaster Fong to keep donating. Is it weird that as an atheist I like Audio Slave / Chris Cornell a lot? No. I like Johnny Cash and he's super religious, or was. Artsy Newbie gave $4.99. Says, do you believe sexist individuals are more likely to abuse their partner? Yeah, I'd think so. I think if you're a misogynist or a misandrist, I think that can be a justification for treating. It's like that pseudo-speciation stuff I was talking about earlier with Trump. I mean, when you diminish someone as being less than you because of, hey, because they're, they're the other sex, and that sex is inferior to my sex, or that race is inferior to my race, or this type of person is inferior to me for whatever fucking reason. That's always a justification and a rationale for being violent or treating them shabbily. So I think that sexism can definitely be a component of abuse. Pongmaster Fong, $2. Pongmaster Fong, $5. Says, you can't separate a why-so from a why-so. No, you sure can't. Deep Fried Brains gave $25 and says, your viewpoints on the flag are the essence of our basic freedoms. You laid out the logic perfectly. I'm old. Never thought I'd hear a president say the election is rigged if they lose in my lifetime. This man is a plague. Thanks, Deep Fried Brains, for the $25, and thanks for the words of wisdom. Boogan Haggins gave $2.99 and said, favorite movie of all time? Just curious. I'm really partial to the film Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. I really like The Big Lebowski by the Coen brothers. I really enjoy Unforgiven by Clint Eastwood and starring Clint Eastwood. Those are probably contenders. I don't know between the three of those. I think it might be. It's probably one of those. But They Live by John Carpenter also is definitely up there as well. Yeah, it's a lot of good films out there. Ian Jones gave fucking 5 Canadian fake monies and said that was a terrible Trump impression, but it was also a good Owen Wilson impression. So I guess my Trump now sounds like Owen Wilson. So whatever, works for me. Maybe you can just pretend it was Owen Wilson playing Trump in a really bad movie. My family is made up of crazy end days conspiracy theorists. This is from Artsy Newbie, $4.99. My family is made up of crazy end days conspiracy theorists, so your videos keep me sane. 5 years still watching. Thanks, man. Thank you for your continued support, and fuck your crazy family. Davis Hay gave $2 Canadian and says Trump ends up pardoning the bomber. Why not, man? Laughincraft gave $10 and says, can you give my friend's channel Ugly Mug Productions a shout out, maybe a view? It's cool if you can't. Either way, big fan of yours. Much love. Well, I guess that's kind of a shout out. Spinosaurus, the proud socialist Egyptiacus, gave $5 and says, love you, TJ. You got me in Star Trek and Marilyn Manson. Keep doing your thing. Thanks, man. Mattis Silverburn gave 100 sex. Very, very inappropriate, and says, I actually saw a Confederate flag yesterday and I was honestly shocked. It was a weird experience, mostly because I'm in goddamn Sweden. Hey, there's retards everywhere. I want to tell you. Rick Nick, $5. Thoughts on Alcoholics Anonymous? Alcoholics Anonymous is bullshit. The first step is surrendering to a higher power, which means you have to be religious, and yet courts can mandate that you go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I think it's a violation of the First Amendment, and it's a violation of the separation of church and state that's implied in the First Amendment. Jack gave $5 and says, thoughts on marijuana concentrates. Take a big old dab and enjoy the stream. I don't really like dabs. I have a very sensitive throat, and I cough very easily, and I cough to the point of like wanting to puke. So I don't really do those, but I'll definitely eat concentrates. Your mom gave $5 and says French cartoons are awesome. Well, their movies suck. Bugenhagens gave $4.99 and says always good to listen to. TJ, thanks. Apu Napasa Pima Petalon gave $7.99 and says TJ, as an animated person of color living in Australia, apparently, I can honestly say you are wrong because of subjective reasons. Have a good one. All right. Philippines gave $5 and says, is Muhammad the ideal ham? Sure. Let's put him in a can. Mr. Wizard 0022 gave $4.99 and says, you watch and like lefty media like Kyle and Mike, but you don't like TYT and Jank Uger in particular. Sorry, never saw the DP episode on it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel Jank is kind of disingenuous compared to those other guys, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Murphy gave $49.99 and says, support, leave the cat out of it. No, I'm going to put the cat in it. Gino Vitoro, I suck at this. Gino Vittorioso gave $20 and says, TJ, what is your thoughts on the new Manson album? It's going to be coming soon. Don't worry. I got a review I'm working on. I just got to write it out. I'm halfway through the writing process of it, and I'm going to do the other half of the writing tomorrow probably, and I'll probably just, I don't think I'm going to bother creating a bunch of visuals to it. I'm probably just going to throw the album picture up and just read the words because I think that's what's important. But, yeah, don't worry. My thoughts will be made clear soon. Matthew Booth gave $5. Says, every time I get a notification that you're streaming, I get so pumped. Look forward to seeing more Christians making fools of themselves. Ha. Well, I didn't really make fun of any Christians this stream, except for, I guess I made fun of the Christians that protested Marilyn Manson back in the 90s. Oh, wait, you know what? That's actually from last stream, so sorry. It's kind of out of date. You got your shit read twice, maybe. Okay, so I saw that some new ones came in while I was reading those. Okay, so wait, hold up. Fuck, these come in so quick. I guess I can't complain. Oh no, too much money. Okay, I'm just trying to find my place in this. Okay. Wait. Okay, yeah. Hi, TJ. So this is Left the Abyss, gave $6.66 and says, hi, TJ. Since somebody mentioned DM stuff, I figured I'd follow up on what you thought of the video you gave me the idea for 10 Holidays. If you've watched it, it's totally fine if you haven't or didn't like it. I can handle a mean critique. I actually have not seen it, so go ahead and send it to me again, because a lot of times shit just gets lost in the shuffle. Cash gave $6.66 and said, University of Michigan was in the news for holding whites-only events alongside non-whites-only events. Folks are pointing to this and saying SJW politics is at fault and only leading us back to segregation. Well, to whatever extent that might be true, I'm obviously against it. I don't think we need segregated racial populations. I think that's inherently a stupid idea, regardless of what the rationale might be. T-Rex, who's the animation guy, gave $6.66 and says, no offense taken, it's kind of metaphorical. He's talking about the animation that I told him I felt like it didn't really match the words necessarily. So you have to watch the whole thing for it to make sense. Also, it gets better as it goes. I was learning the program. I appreciate your honesty, though. All right, well, listen. Go ahead and send it to me again. I'm going to try to watch the whole thing. I'm not going to be super ADD and just, bounce around through it and be like, nope, doesn't make sense, fuck it. So I'll try to actually sit down and watch it properly and not be a fucking douchebag. Not Very Poggers gave $4.87 and says, do you trust the U.S. government to check or balance anything? I think that if I didn't trust them at all to check or balance anything, then we'd basically be living in Trumptopia at this point, and we'd have no say in the matter. So I guess there must be some checks and balances still in order. But yeah, obviously they've been pretty greatly diminished. All right, last little round of super chats. What would you do with all the Infinity Stones? I don't know. I'd probably snap my fingers and make everyone a big bootied bitch, but me. So I just could live in the big booty bitch universe. Jack gave like that. Jack gave $5 and says, "Do you watch Hasanabi?" I don't think I do. Evan Smith gave $5. Says, "Congrats on quitting cigs, TJ." It's weird. I quit smoking a while ago, like months at this point, and today was like a really hard day for not smoking. I was like, "Fuck, I wish I could have a cigarette today." I just had this strong urge for a cigarette, and I don't know what the fuck that was about. Lost Property gave $5 Says, "It's my birthday today. Have $5. Well, happy birthday, Lost Property. Hope it's a good one. BJ Smirk gave $2 Says, "My last donation, put it in your RV trip fund, TJ." Yeah, we've almost funded the RV trip at this point. It's crazy. Zegner gave 400 huffs, which are Hungarian monies. And he said, "Here, have some Hungarian funny money. Thanks." Skeptical Contrarian gave $5 Says, "Please listen to Degent. I want a TJ reaction to hearing After the Burial Neo Soul." But I can't listen to fucking music on a stream. It'll just shut my stream down. That's all they do. I don't know. I guess some people get away with these reaction videos to shit, but it seems like I never get away with that shit. All right, hold on. I'll listen to some of it. I hate it. There's my reaction. Bob Meeky gave $5 and says, "Do you generally?" I didn't give it a fair enough shot. I don't know if I hate it or not. I'm joking. Bob Meeky gave $5 says, "Do you generally agree with Kyle Kalinski's takes on political issues?" Yeah. In fact, sometimes it's almost kind of boring because I know what he's going to say beforehand, and I kind of already know that I agree with it. So a lot of times when I'm watching him, I watch whatever fucking clip he played or whatever he's reacting to, and then I watch the first minute or two of what he's saying, and then when he starts, Kyle tends to go through a pattern of he introduces a clip, he plays the clip, and then he fucking says the same thing 4 times in a row. So when he starts to cycle back through and repeat stuff, that's when I kind of just all right, good, I got it, I got the gist. And that's not an insult to him, by the way. The reason he does that is because a lot of people, you have to do that for them to actually sink in with them. But I've never had the patience. BJ Smirk, $2. Come to Australia. We love you. Entire country, the entire continent of fucking Australia, honestly, loves me. Every single one of them. John T. B gave $7.99 Australian and says, "As Chomsky says, Trump is pushing us into a climate apocalypse. Probably the biggest reason to vote Biden. I mean, I don't know that Biden's fucking climate shit is going to be any better, but I guess it might be marginally better. So sure. But maybe I'm misinformed on that. Chaos and Rush, $5 says, "You should do more video cartoon reviews like BoJack Horseman versus F is for Family versus Rick and Morty. I'd like to see you dissect other media." Yeah, I really like doing that kind of stuff, but it never seems like I get much traction as a critic, despite the fact that I think I'm pretty fucking good at it, but I don't know. I seem to have unusual taste. Forskin gave $5 Canadian and says, "You are beautiful." Well, thank you. TV B9 gave $5 and says, "I'm not an atheist. Is there anything for me on your Patreon?" Yeah, I mean, there's almost no atheist specific content on there. I'm not going to lie. There's occasionally it comes up that we're atheists and we hate religion, but 99% of what's there has nothing to do with religion or atheism. It's politics or history or all kinds of other stuff. BJ Smirk asked, "Are you still a fat smoker?" Gave $5 Canadian bucks. No. I guess I'm a fat pot smoker, but I'm trying to lose weight and I've quit smoking cigarettes, so I'm becoming less fat and less of a smoker, I guess. The one and only W gave $2. I already read that one. Don't need to read it again, do I? Okay. I think we're wrapping this. I think we've wrapped this up. I think we've gone through all the donations, right? Let's see. Okay. HS gave 5 Canadian bucks and says, how should I deal with knowing deep down when I'm desperate, I will believe in God? I don't know. I mean, like, don't worry about what you're going to do when you're desperate. Just worry about your fucking day-to-day life. Pongmaster Fong gave $2 twice because he's really fucking generous. And Mecha Kingzilla also gave $2 and says, yo, today is my birthday and thanks. Well, happy birthday to you. And anybody else whose birthday it is, happy fucking birthday. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream. You know, I enjoyed it. It's kind of sucked to have to do that Manson stuff because obviously I look up to Marilyn Manson as an artist and, you know, and also just as a human being that's like I view as an honest person that's willing to like put themselves out there. And so it kind of sucked to have to go through stuff that was like, you know, obviously like the repercussions of the way that he is and seeing the way that it can affect the people around him. You know, not to give undue credence to any one narrative in that situation, but just, you know, that kind of sucked and was kind of painful in a way. But, you know, but still it's always fun to stream. I love chatting with you guys. And you know, it's cool. I like to do these late night streams too, because I just love the late night crowd, the late night energy. I like it a lot better than like when I stream during the day. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the people that show up, I guess, but they're just not the same as my night people. You know what I mean? Shout out from your minority fascist fan base. It's honestly, it's a miracle how you've not managed to chase me away already. Well, you know, hey, I'm glad that I'm glad that even to someone who's politically opposed to me in a bunch of ways. That was, by the way, a donation of 50 NOKs. I don't know what country that's from, but you know, hey, man, or woman, I'm glad that despite the fact that we agree on nothing, you've still somehow managed to find something worthwhile in what I'm doing. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Love each and every last motherfucking one of you, and I will see you next time. I'll be doing the Manson review soon. I have another video coming out about gender that I'm going to look at through the lens of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kim Kardashian, so keep an eye peeled for that. I also have some clips. I'll probably upload some clips from this, and I also have some clips from some other live streams that are going to be coming up soon, so stay tuned to this channel. Oh, and by the way, I uploaded a video earlier today that was where I was critiquing various thumbnails, and you know, if you guys haven't seen that one, if that didn't pop up in your feed, please go check that out after you're done watching this. If you hunger, like we need more, TJ. I just put out a video 6 hours ago. It's a edited, scripted video, so it's like people have been asking for that for a while because obviously a lot of shit's been like live stream kind of shit and cropped from live streams. So that's one to watch. Go check that out from earlier in the day. And thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to this channel. Fucking hit the alert bell. Subscribe to my podcast, Deep Fat Fried. Can be found down there in the fucking description. All that bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm done. I'm going to go get high and watch TV and fucking zonk out. And, yeah, love you guys. Peace.